Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here on Wednesday morning. It's a little bit rainy outside of Toronto, but there's nothing dampening our day in the 416 after a great last game before the All-Star break against the Orlando Magic last night. Guys, we saw a performance by our new big center that, according to Basketball Reference and Blake Murphy on Twitter, is one of the top 100 stat lines a Toronto Raptor has ever achieved in a game by our number one star of the game yesterday, Mr. Jakob-stat. Now, when we look at this stat line, I kind of, in a way, want to break it down little by little to really talk about the impact this guy's having on this team. Listen, some people looked at what we did last week at the trade deadline as being not really changing something. In fact, on the ESPN Power Rankings today, Tim Bontemps has us moved up from 25 to 21, which is great. I love that, Tim. But on your write-up about the Raptors and where they are in the power rankings right now, you're saying after standing pat at the deadline. After standing pat at the deadline, this is a misconception that an ESPN writer and a lot of Raptors Nation has right now. How can you guys say this? I mean, you put this article out this morning, Tim Bontemps, at 7:30 this morning. You could have seen the game last night. You could understand the new era of Toronto Raptors basketball that has dawned on the NBA. Or you could just stay blind to it. You go ahead and stay blind to it. Some of y'all that are negative and don't care or don't want to see the Raptors succeed, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen whether you guys like it or not, you haters. ESPN, Tim Bontemps, we are not standing pat. And if you do not see the seismic shift in the Toronto Raptors performance last night and what they're doing and what is possible for the future, you are not opening your eyes. Because this is real, y'all. This is not fucked up one trick pony, one night kind of thing. Sure, it was very ideal. And this is the crazy thing. He played almost perfect last night. And he has not been on our team for a week, y'all. He came here on Thursday night last week at 1 a.m. That's right, y'all. We need to be laughing. Because listen, seriously, if they had a dark Illuminati NBA ban on the Raptors getting a center, well, now we know why. Because this means something big, y'all. And there's a reason why I'm wearing the champion's hat more often again when I'm on the winner's wall, is because I believe we have a championship kind of team. It may not happen this playoff, but man, oh man, this guy from Austria showing back up on our team very much equals Larry O'Brien. And there's just too much that he's doing right, too much he's rubbing off on everybody else, too much that everybody else is smiling and feeling happy. It's like the team has a lighter air around it. Vibes check, boom, vibes immaculate, because this man showed up. He literally is like sunshine. That he was in the press conference yesterday, and they asked him. He said, "What Pascal has been so happy because he doesn't have to play centers anymore." He said he came up to him at shoot around and said, Pascal came up to Poeltl and he said, "Thank you for being here. I don't have to guard the 5 or the center anymore." This is so true. There's like a relief among the bigger guys on our team, because all of a sudden there's like some sort of like stress relief on the pressure of fighting the biggest guys on the other teams, because all of a sudden Jakob showed up. There are just rippling benefits echoing off of this man in all kinds of different ways. And until Raptors fans understand the gravity and the huge impact that this guy's going to have on our team in the years to come right now, well, get ready, because y'all enjoy winning. Well, we're going to be winning a lot. We are going to be winning a lot. We are definitely going to be winning a lot. All right, so let's look at Jakob's stat line real quick. It really is one of the greatest stat lines in the history of the Raptors. 15 of 17 shooting. He was actually 9 for 9 until he missed one finally and went 9 for 10. And honestly, you know what? I was hoping he would go perfect. I really wanted to see him shoot a perfect game last night, but he didn't. But he damn sure nearly did. 30 points, plus 18, 9 rebounds, including 5 offensive rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and then, of course, block up was in full effect. Block up. You guys saw more of block up last night. And this is just crazy. Like, I have a nose to stop you and block you. Just a low post defensive presence that is amazing. Do you guys like the way Jakob-Poeltl blocks shots? I sure do. I sure do. One of the coolest things that I noticed yesterday about us is we're going in gangs on rebounding and crashing our offensive boards at this time. We saw a pairing up of Barnes and Poeltl attacking the glass at one point, and they looked like such bullies. They really were in there mixing it up with Bol and the biggest guys on Orlando, and they were bullying them around beside each other. It was almost like Poeltl going so aggressively to get the offensive rebounds and clearing space inspired Scotty to get more aggressive and go after those rebounds in the same possession. And the fact that they both were doing that, that's overpowering. I'm sorry, that's too much strength. That's too much savvy. That's too much smarts. If they're going to gang rebound like that, oh my gosh, have mercy on the other teams. Because if Poeltl and Barnes are going to decide that they just want to be a gang of rebounders and they're going to just attack the rebounds like they did at one possession. Did you see that possession I'm talking about? How much they were stronger than everybody else around them. They kept the ball alive and they didn't relent until the ball went through the basket. And then when they did that, you know what happened? There was a little bit of gang rebounding with another pair later. And I believe it was Precious and Chris, the DX pairing, that they were just crashing the boards themselves. We saw Chris do crazy ass rebounds last night. There was that one free throw that was missed, and they had the camera angle wrong. And all of a sudden, the ball magically appeared in the rim. And I was like, whoa, why is the ball in the rim? He missed the free throw. It's because Chris swooped in and put a put back that they didn't catch with the right angle on Sportsnet. It was really kind of funny because they needed to show it because Chris kind of snuck in there and just put that rebound back in off the free throw miss, and you didn't even see him. You just saw his hand. Chris Boucher, you are awesome. Can you see how he can influence everybody on this team to either A, play better defense, crash the boards better? He can influence the other players to shoot a higher percentage. We've already talked about that. There are so many different things that Jakob-Poeltl emanates off of him to make the Raptors better. And at both ends of the court, off the court with vibes, just with intelligence and smarts and being around. And oh my gosh, pinch me once again. Is this for real? Did we get Jakob? Is it for real? We have a real center. Yes, we do. This is not dreamland. This is the truth. This is the reality. So y'all wake up in Raptors Nation and stop being so cynical. Stop being so negative. Stop being so jaded. Have you seen the light of the new acquisition that the Raptors got, and what is the impact? Did you see it yesterday? Did you understand it more? I know a lot of y'all already knew. The Raptor freaks knew, but I'm saying to the casuals, to Raptors Nation who I don't call fans anymore, that have been denigrating this team and putting it down, saying fire Masai and get rid of Fred and fire Nick Nurse. Fuck you, David Thorpe. Can you see now what we saw last Thursday when we heard his name was coming back here, that we believed already before he even stepped on the court again in his number 19? Can you see now what is about to happen with the Toronto Raptors team? That we have a capable center and the door is closed. The shop is closed. We got a new shopkeeper. His name is Blockup. And if you're trying to shoplift in our lane, he will catch you and he will put you out of the lane. You ain't scoring against us down low no more. No, you're not. All right, let me get on the comments with you guys real quick. ALLSTAR's first in today. Good morning, ALLSTAR. Good to see you. And he's saying Poeltl is an elite all-star future Hall of Famer. Those are lofty words. You know, listen, this is the fun thing about Poeltl. Have you ever heard of him winning an all-star? Have you ever heard of him getting any shine at all in any kind of way from the NBA? No, you haven't. You know why? Because he's not exciting. He's not really a star. He's just a dude who plays basketball the right way with a big, huge frame that was under the tutelage of Greg Popovich for the last 4 years. You know, there is something to be said about sending your kid away to college. And then your kid comes back and they have all these new skills and they're just badasses. Well, there's a lot to this about sending Jakob in that trade for Kawhi with DeMar and sending him to Popovich. And him being with Popovich this whole time, it really, really like it's just what the fuck, NBA. We just downloaded a hard drive. It's like he's a hard drive. He's like a flash drive. He went and he took all the information, all of the instruction, all the time around Popovich, and he's downloaded it into him. And he's here now, and he's a flash drive in our computer now with everything he downloaded from Pop. So it's very, very crazy, and the possibilities are crazy. And Nick Nurse is giddy. He's giddy. Like, I know he's had a tough week. He's been absent. He showed up, but he's really just scratching the surface, y'all. Like, last night went really, really, really well, but there's so much more to discover. There's so much more specifically in certain plays on the court that can be figured out with Poeltl. And because he's so smart, and because he already has a connection with Fred and Pascal and other people, it's going to be so smooth, and there's not going to be a real bumpy transition with him on our team. As soon as he showed up without a practice, he played right. He played efficient against Utah, but he hadn't been here long enough to really have his full effect on, winning. In fact, we really did fuck up that we didn't play him at the end of the fourth quarter last Friday night. That I think we would have won that game if Jakob-stat had been on the court for the last 5 minutes against the Jazz. So it's really weird. They saying now, listen, we've won 8 of our last 12 games, guys. This is something that is really much a trend. They can look at some of the losses recently and still think we're bad or mid, but it's not the truth. Even before Jakob showed up, we were starting to win again, and now he's just going to push us even further. So, yeah, get used to winning a lot of games again. It's happening. And I love the test of New Orleans. I'm like, I almost hate the All-Star break right now. I know these guys need a rest, and they got to do it normally like they always do, but I want to fucking keep going right now. I don't want to take a break. I do not. I really don't. I know it's good for the rest for Gary and OG and such little injuries that some of these guys have. But in some ways, once again, I hate the All-Star break. Because what a waste of time. It's like, I know, let's just keep going in some ways. I don't know. They announced all the participants for the Saturday night stuff and all kinds of stuff, and it's weak ass. I mean, it's weak sauce. That 3-point field, that dunk competition, the skills competition, it is weak sauce. It's like if I paid money, a lot of money, to go to Utah to be there for Saturday night skills competition and dunk competition, I'd be disappointed. Because there really isn't a whole lot of star power unless you include Giannis Antetokounmpo and his brothers in the skills competition. But yeah, really like boring field for the 3-point shootout and the dunkers. Who are these guys? They're no names. And who gives a shit? It's really depressing and sad. The best days of the All-Star break are going to be Friday and Sunday, which I think Friday will be the most fun to me because the celebrity game has a crazy ass lineup. And then, of course, young Scott Wayne Barnes in the Rising Stars. That'll be fun to see, too. Now, Pascal is an all-star. And, they said in the interviews after the game that he should have been picked already. And it is, in a way, kind of a slight that he, he's going after as an afterthought. Nick said that in his interview after the game last night. We've heard an early excerpt of Hustle Play with Rico Hines that he's saying it on Rico Hines is saying on Chris Boucher's Hustle Play that it's a travesty in some ways that Pascal just didn't get voted on in the first place, that he didn't need the disrespect of being an injury replacement. And I think that's very true. Pascal is my second star of the game last night. Once again, with Jakob's presence, we're seeing it rub off on Pascal with a high percentage shooting night. He was 10 of 15, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, a +8 with 26 points for Siakam, our second star. Really, really cool that Jakob was the leading scorer last night. I mean, I wouldn't have bet on that. But this is the crazy thing. It's kind of funny because in the days before last night, I had been talking about he's going to be able to be used offensively in certain ways. And what we saw, really, he doesn't really have a mid range and he doesn't really have an outside, obviously. But there is a certain area of the paint that he can do a lot and be very dominant, as seen last night. And the fact that you see his touch, you see how he puts the ball off his hand and it's light and it gives it a chance to kind of roll and drop into the hole. And that's the great thing about Jakob is when we had him before, he didn't have that touch. He wasn't very good at shooting totally yet, but now he really is. And we saw how much we could go to the well with him. And this isn't against a very small team. This was a team that has some big beef and guys run around with Bol and Banchero. It's just that, there's some problems still. Orlando looked really nasty at times. And it was a very competitive game. It wasn't like we were getting the worst of Orlando either. They played very tough. And holy crap, that guy has a chip on his shoulder because we chose Scotty over him. And that crowd, I know this is what they do because I went to the first game against Orlando after they were both drafted last season. Whenever Jalen Suggs goes to the line or does something, they start chanting, Scotty's better at the arena. Now, I'm like, y'all stop. You're pissing this guy off, obviously, because he's going off in the second quarter. And he scored like 19 points in the second quarter and actually got them the lead at halftime, single-handedly pretty much, Jalen Suggs. He definitely has a chip on his shoulder against the Raptors. And this is the whole mess that ESPN analysts cause when they predict that we should pick him and our fans buy in, and then they have a backlash and they get upset. It becomes a bigger thing than it is. And now we have some sort of crazy-ass baller guy who wants to destroy us whenever we play him now for the rest of his career. Seriously, this is going to be like this. Jalen Rose is going to be a Raptor killer for a long time because this is just how it has been written. And I don't like it. But in some ways, if it is going to be a guy like that, he's undersized and we can kind of stifle him and stop him by the end of the game. And he doesn't just do this like crazy. That's good. And a big reason why Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz were kind of brought under wraps was Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. We saw Nick Nurse do something yesterday that I've been crying out for him to do. And maybe we're going to see it more because of the new roster with Jakob. He made a substitution for a need, and he very much was successful with it. He knew that Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs were killing us in transition, getting down the court and not being met by our ball defenders. Malachi is great. He did some good things yesterday. He hit some threes. He did some good stuff. I really was happy with everybody who played yesterday. Delano had his bright spots too. But when he brought Jeff in the second half, he really did slow down Fultz and Suggs in a very effective substitution way. And I kudos to you, Nick, for doing that. I know Jeff didn't score, but that stretch of time that Jeff Dowtin was out there was really important, those 10 minutes late in the game, because he kind of got a handle on containing Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs at times. If anything, he met the ball and kept doggedly on it. His defense was fantastic. In fact, whoever was saying that Jeff Dowtin Jr. can't play defense last summer, you are so sadly incorrect, because we saw it last night in a very, very beneficial way for us to win. And I really love that sub. Nick, that is exactly the kind of stuff I want to see you do, is bring in a substitution for a need and really see some results in fixing something that was a problem for most of the game. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. So ALLSTAR's also saying the Tim Duncan of our generation. Wow. I want to say something about that, though. And go Spurs and Raps. Time to push for that Larry O'Brien. We the North. You go, ALLSTAR. I love your positive first comment. Listen, there is something to this Tim Duncan thing. I won't say he's Tim Duncan, but I'm going to tell you right now that Tim Duncan is very much inside Jakob-Poeltl and Scotty Barnes. I told Scotty this last summer. It's like everybody says they see the magic in you. Everybody sees the Kawhi in you. Everybody sees the Draymond Green in you, but I don't really see the Draymond. I see those other two. And then the third person I told Scotty was Tim Duncan. And the reason why I told Scotty he's like Tim Duncan is because he's got the right frame to play defense like Tim Duncan, that he has a team defense kind of mindset already, and he likes to rebound. That's not too far off what Tim Duncan is on the defensive end, other than the block shots. But Scotty can also do that too. The thing about Tim Duncan is he's the big fundamental, and it's kind of a mindset who Tim Duncan is. It's not really like a style of play. It is very much a mindset that you're fundamentally very good, that you try hard, you're only doing everything to win. Tim Duncan wasn't the leading scorer quite often. Very often he wasn't. He did a lot of rebounding and defensive stuff to ensure that they won. Now, this is the thing. Jakob is very much in that mold. He's going to be like that, a high IQ big that will do whatever it takes to win. And as whatever that decision is, whether it's off the ball and passing or it's him scoring himself like he did last night. That's the thing. That Popovich, Tim Duncan mentality is in Jakob-stat, and part of the hard drive thing that I was just talking about, that he's downloaded the philosophies that were taught to Tim Duncan by Greg Popovich, and that there is going to be a lot of commonality in the concepts and the way that Jakob-stat views team defense as Tim Duncan. That it's just the same stuff. It's the same person that taught him. And in some ways, because Jakob's here, he can teach Scotty. And Scotty, I can tell he's going to really enjoy playing with Jakob. They're going to become like very close friends. I can already tell, because he seems like his kind of guy that he likes to hang out with, is fun. And what's going to happen is, Scotty's going to become a better and better team defender because Jakob-stat is helping to teach him. And indirectly, Jakob will be teaching him the ways of Popovich. So there's nothing not to like about this whole idea that our bigs, and Scotty included, can be more Tim Duncan-like, because there very much is from the learning tree of Tim Duncan, the teacher of Tim Duncan. So Raymond's saying, good morning, Raymond Jacob. So happy to see you this morning. We the North, 100% now. Now we have All-Star Poeltl. We are going all the way, baby. Make the parade plans now, John Tory. No, not John Tory. No. And another next year, and a year, and next year. Okay, Raymond Jacob, you're getting carried away. Now, listen, John Tory was at the game last night, and I'm going to go in a little bit of a stretch off the road for a second. There's some really weird political shenanigans going on in Toronto right now. This man announces that he's going to resign because of an inappropriate relationship with a staffer during the pandemic. He's all happy to do it. And now all of a sudden, this is bullshit. They're doing a fucking political charade in Toronto to make it seem like he's going to leave, and he's not going to leave. He's going to act like he's going to leave, but he's not, because he's trying to get people to put a poll out and get popularity vote to keep him even more ensconced in power by saying, you know what, you can do this, but we don't care. And they're trying to rescind him resigning because some people have a movement to tell him not to resign. And Doug Ford is piling on it and saying, you shouldn't resign, John Tory. So I think it's all fucking political theater, and that this motherfucker never intended to resign, that he's doing that. This is all very calculated. It's fucked up, and it's bullshit. Fuck John Tory. I don't want him anywhere near another Raptors parade. He needs to leave and resign right now. And he shouldn't be able to do his budget either. They need somebody else to come in and do the budget. It's all rigged. It's all fucked up. It's all political theater. If that motherfucker does not resign and leave after this, that's a horrible fucking precedent for how people should be dealing with scandals and stuff like that. So yeah, you go ahead and destroy our political system in Toronto a little bit further, John Tory, with your crazy ass political theater you're doing right now. I know the whole intention right now is, and don't fall for it, y'all, is this movement to tell John not to resign over this. Fuck that. People have done this and they've had to resign in the past. What has changed? Nothing. It was inappropriate. It was wrong. This man should not be doing the job. And anybody who's in a movement to keep him in job and forget about it, you're fucked. You're crazy, and you shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, this is all fucked up, John Tory. Anyway, that's my spiel on him. Don't fall for this shit. They are calculating and concocting this whole thing about him resigning, and they're going to rescind it, and he's going to try and stay in power. And in some ways, if he gets through this way, he will be ensconced in a more powerful way that he will be harder to get out. And he may have worse scandals down the road or something, and he's figured out how to get around them. That's what I'm saying. We need to make sure he resigns and he leaves. And there can't be any kind of like stupid ass counter movement all of a sudden that's saying, don't resign, John. Don't resign, John. Oh my gosh, it's just your private life. No, there's a lot of other fucked up things about him. And this is the thing that is very much a reason for him to get resigning. So, yeah. All right, let's see. Jimmy Pope saying, yes, sir. Jakob's a beast. I really think this team can go on a big run going into the playoffs. I agree, Jimmy Pope. Seriously, y'all feel like how we would do against Philadelphia this year is what I was saying last week. I said, we play Philadelphia this year, we're going to kick their ass because we got a big man to match up with Embiid this time. We've got a lot of other things we can do way, way better this time if we play them. So, yeah, it's really, really good. Forgetful saying, thank you, Doc. Who are you thanking? Not Doc Rivers. I bet you're thanking Dr. Nick Nurse. Yeah, or maybe Dr. Adrian Griffin. Yeah, I like that. Tom Duke is here. He's saying, woohoo, one-man wrecking crew, Big Yak is back. It's really like a different team with this addition. We all should be anticipating Raptors spanking any team after the break. Glad we finished well. Yeah. Listen, the one thing that is important is playing winning basketball, that he will adjust. He will do whatever it takes to help them win. It's not any ego with scoring. It's not anything like with anything else. He doesn't care. That's the thing. He's never, ever going to get shine. And this is very Tim Duncan-ish. Tim Duncan got his shine because he was just overwhelmingly so good he had to. But it's not like he cared about the spotlight. In fact, he doesn't even want to be out in public anymore since he retired. And that's the thing, that in some ways you're unassuming, hardworking basketball guy who does all the grind, does all the dirty work, doesn't care about getting accolades. That is somebody to very much respect and love. And this is Jakob-stat. He's not going to get the accolades or the respect that because he's going to be beside Pascal and Freddie and Scotty. Those guys will get the credit before he will in some ways. But the real ones will know that he had a huge impact, and that's why we're better now. Well, it's very evident. It's very, very evident. I'm excited too, Tom. I wish this break, I know it's very well timed for like injuries and getting rest, but honestly, I'm excited, and I can't wait to see the Raptors play again. That is just the way it is right now. It's very much, the Raptors are fun when you're anticipating and waiting. And I'm waiting till the 23rd now, which is over a week. And that kind of drives me crazy. I'm not going to lie. This week's going to be annoying because there's not going to be as much Raptors basketball. That's for sure. Yeah. Callie's here. Good morning to Raptors freak Callie Mayer. What a difference a true center can make. He looks so happy as well. Great team performance. Everybody looks happy. Apparently, in the locker room after the game, Precious and Chris were singing a lot. And even Jakob joined in and sang with them a bit. So the vibes are strong and happy and good. Everybody's smiling. The guys who aren't playing are having a good time on the bench between Gary and OG. They're having a good time. Everybody's having a good time. The coaches the coaches are very happy with the possibilities. Jakob, and him personally, he's got to feel really cool because in some ways, think about his season. He was in San Antonio and they were very much in the Wemby sweepstakes. They still are. And he was one of the good things on the team, and he's kind of holding the ship, but the ship is sinking, and it's not even that they want to fix it. So it's got to be frustrating if you're a very competitive person to be in a situation that you're just rigged to not have a chance to win, whether it's like you're purposely losing as a team or you just don't have enough talent or you're just like, that's just how it's happening. It's got to suck because I know he's super, super competitive. And coming to Toronto is such a good fit for him too, because first of all, he's coming in and filling a need that's very like wanted. So we feel very appreciative to him. Obviously that feels good for someone, but also for himself. He's now competing again to win, just like we are. And so in some ways, how he feels about coming here and helping us to start win again is very much something for himself, also getting out of the San Antonio situation. That he wanted to get in games that are close and have a good chance to win. He wanted to have teammates that are super, super talented and crazy good like he does now so that he had a better chance to win. And now he's got that. So what's not to like? What's not to like for either way? It really is a match made in heaven, a perfect fit. And it's just so seamlessly happening so well right now. And a lot of it has to do with the familiarity and the very, very intelligent smarts of him and Fred VanVleet and Pascal and Nick Nurse and the whole rest of them, too. Really, really good, Callie. And they did a pretty good job with the maple syrup at the end of the game. They got a lead at a certain point in the second half, and they kept a pretty much right around 10-point lead for most of it. There was a little bit of coming close. So I don't think your stress meter was too bad last night. They seemed to control the game very well. And of course, with the way Jakob was playing, we were very confident. In fact, there was a lot of blocks last night. There was so many fun blocks. It was like the Boucher block on Bobo. There was just so much fun stuff in this game, whether it was like crazy dunks, this watching Jakob, just all the different kind of elements of the game make it fun to watch because we just see cool plays and weird shit like Precious's ass like hurting. Who did he hurt? I think it was Wendell or somebody. His ass went into it was Wendell Clark and Wendell Carter. Sorry, not Wendell Clark. Wendell Carter Jr. Precious put his butt into his crotch. And then all of a sudden, the man acted like for five minutes afterwards, like he kicked him. But I was like, what is this? This Precious must have a bony ass because he really hurt that man in the crotch because he was holding himself for a while. Oh, he's really milking it too. And I was like, damn. And then Ben Taylor went to go look at it in the cartoons. He said, I got to see if there's some malicious contact. And like he goes and looks at it and he's like, no, he just backed into him. He's like, there was no malicious contact. The refs were weird. There was one point in the second quarter where they did a hit job on us, but it didn't take. It didn't take. They did fuck us up a little bit with Jalen Suggs, but it was early in the game, the ref hit job, and it didn't really matter. We were able to like go by it, and they were pretty fair otherwise. There were some calls they had to get right. If they went and looked at it, they had to undeniably call it for the Raptors, and that they were pretty good for the most part. I wasn't too upset with the refs. I know some people have been complaining about them on Twitter, Will Lou in particular, and some other people. I'm not following Will Lou anymore. He was negative. Like, why, Will Lou, why would you tweet this? He said, without the Jakob-stat, we would have lost by 20 last night. Motherfucker, you don't even know that for sure. We could have won this game still without him. What kind of fucking thinking is that? And in fact, that illustrates the negative mindset that you have, Will Lou. That you would tweet that after a game like last night. Why the fuck would you say that after what a beautiful game? You really may have some negative mindset in your head that you just got to scrap, bro. Because there's no point in saying without Jakob, the Raptors would have lost by 20 last night. That's not necessary or not even know if that's true. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. We might have beat their ass anyway. So shut the fuck up, Will Lou. It's amazing how much you plummeted in my book in just the last 5 days. It's insane how much I've lost respect for you in the last 5 days. And a tweet like that is unnecessary and stupid. Honestly, the vibes are good, Will. Get used to it. You better fucking open your eyes to the yak sunshine, baby, because it's going to make everything all right. So just shut the fuck up, Will Lou, is what I must say right now. There's no reason to be people being negative right now. What is negative about the Raptors organization right now? We have cleansed ourselves. We brought in somebody who cleans it all up with the sunshine. It's like they say go out and sit in the sunshine. If you have COVID, it can make you feel better. You can fight COVID by getting sunshine. Get the power of the sunshine, that vitamin. Ooh, you know what I'm saying? And y'all need to go and get the sunshine of yak and get all your stupid ass negative fucking pessimistic bullshit about what the Raptors are doing for the rest of the season. You cannot see this performance last night is the new trend. You cannot see that we need to get used to winning again. Why are y'all so negative? Why do you have to be so negative? Things are good. And you want to be miserable while they're good? Well, when they're good and you're miserable and then they're bad and you're miserable, you're just always miserable. So I can't help you. That's your own damn fault if you can't be happy right now. Oh my gosh. Shere Khan is here once again, keeping the streak alive. I love it, Shere Khan. Poeltl has been great so far. When the trade happened, I could envision everyone back at their true position and thriving. How important was it to fill in the hole at center before the trade deadline? This has been important for a couple trade deadlines. The last time I really felt this kind of relief from a big man was Cam Birch. in Tampa, that it had gone so badly with Baines and Len. Then we just really had such horrible stuff. And then Kem showed up, and he was actually a door that shut the door in the paint, and they couldn't score on us as easily. That's why I love that man so much, because we're desperate. We needed a life preserver, and that was a life preserver thrown to us that season. Well, in some ways, it's the same thing, except we're on a higher level. The Tampa team was really bad, and it stayed bad with Kem Birch. Well, we've never been really that bad this season. We've just had bad breaks, bad injuries, bad luck. Well, you know what? Fuck bad luck. Fuck around with, don't even fuck with luck. Go ahead and just do what you know will happen, what you can control. And that is go and acquire your old center, your number 9 pick in the draft, and put him back in the lineup. That's all premeditated and thought out and planned and thinking about what the fit would be, and has nothing to do with luck. You want to change your luck, make your team better, and just go ahead and do it. And I think it was a huge move, Shere Khan. And that, I really love what it does to our positions. In fact, that on the down low is part of why we're getting to be so dominant. And we're going to get to see fun new things with Scotty's development that wouldn't have been possible without Jakob around. The big relief really helps move them all down so they can have smaller people to play against that they can bully. All of them can bully. We saw the top bullying yesterday. That was Jakob bullying them in the paint, going 15 for 17. Well, they're all going to be able to bully to an extent, because they're all going to be slotted down against a smaller guy than they were a week ago before Jakob showed up. And that's a big difference. That really, really is in our lineup. The fact that we can be bigger because Jakob's here. G saying, I've been asking for an experienced big for years. Thank you, Masai. Better late than ever, right, G? This is something we wanted, and we called it like 2 years ago. It's like, if we could get Jakob-stat back, we've been saying this for a couple years. And they must have listened. And they maybe were thinking about it too. They're like, oh, man, this would be good too. And it's crazy, because I would be in Jakob's comments on his posts in San Antonio telling him how much we miss him in Toronto. And that I even told him many times, I said, we hope you can come back to Toronto someday. And I always said that, and I really meant it. I really, really did. And I didn't know, there were no guarantees he would ever come back and play for Toronto. But I'm glad it has become full circle, and that we can go and look at those old comments that I made, and you can see them on his page in different places where I say, Jakob, we want you back in Toronto. We're going to get you back. And this is like a year, 2 years ago. Yeah, it happened. And thank you, Masai. And it's funny. He's trying to be funny. He's like, oh, you guys wanted a center. Oh, I finally got us a center. He's like, I should have done this sooner. I'm like, you're damn right, Masai. You should have done this sooner. But I guess it happened the way it was supposed to, in the time that it was supposed to. But it really is like, it really does make you understand how we were overachieving as a team without a center the last couple years. How much easier it is in some ways just to have that big pivot in some ways. So it's like other teams, like with the Sixers, with Embiid, yeah, I feel like they're losers and they don't work as hard, because obviously they really lean on him. Well, now that we have this guy on our team, it's going to get a lot easier. You see how much easier it is to have a center around when things are just better and easier. Isaac saying, Guy is a monster, making us the scary team we should be. Yeah, there was a lot of pushing around and like moving people around. The stuff between him and Mo Wagner was pretty funny yesterday. Obviously, they've competed with each other for years, probably around Europe, and also, in the NBA, of course. But yeah, there was some dirty stuff Mo was trying to do to Jakob. And then Jakob was kind of putting him in his place also. Mo Wagner is an idiot. He's an idiot. Like, there was some funny stuff. Like, he fell down. Was that Pascal broke his ankles or made him fall over? That was hilarious. That was kind of like the Thad Young play against Embiid last year in the playoffs. That one play where Pascal did such an amazing move, the man fell over, and like, oh, that was hilarious. That's comic gold. And yeah, Mo Wagner, you act. Like, there was one play where you overacted on something and we got a foul on us. Yeah, he's a flop artist. I don't think when they hit him, Detroit hit him in the head. I think he was not hit that hard. I think he acted. I think he very much sold it like a wrestler would. That he did not get knocked out. Just from the way he was acting last night against us and like getting hits and overreacting and being a flop artist, that told me that he didn't fucking get hit by the Pistons at that bench in that incident earlier this season. He just fell on over like he acted like he did to milk it. because he did that kind of shit against us last night. Mo Wagner. This fucking guy. He's such a hateable dude. I mean, he really is. You look at Mo Wagner, don't you want to punch him in the face? Seriously. My third star of the game is actually Precious. Precious had a hard game in some points, but he actually was really good also at the same time. 4 of 7 from the field, 1 and 2 from 3. Perfect 2 for 2 at the line. And those 2 free throws he hit were right at the end of the game and were absolutely important for just like putting the nail in the coffin for the Magic yesterday. 13 rebounds, 11 points, a double-double. Once again, Precious getting another double-double and just being a real workhorse out there, playing real hard, plus 11 with 1 block. I really like Precious's game. Even when he's like, he looks kind of wild and doing crazy things, he's just such a good player. And this team is so crazy good. Honestly, we have so many good, incredible players in different ways that honestly, seriously, they can sleep on us. Other people can sleep on us, but we should not be sleeping on them because we're paying attention and we're the fans. They're coming up, and let them sleep because it could even happen this year. There's some things we could do real quick with synergy and catching people off guard that we can make some noise. I hope you guys believe it more and more as we go through these final 20 or so games in the end of the season, that we can actually believe in them for the playoffs this year. I want to build that belief within Raptors Nation more and more, and stop these pessimists or stop these stupid idiots that's saying, oh, why do we want to go to the playoffs? We'll be mid. We'll never be good if we don't get a high draft pick. Fuck all that shit. Wait until you see the noise we're going to make in the playoffs that nobody expected just because Poeltl showed up. It's going to be so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Monique is here. Good morning, everyone. I'm just glad we pulled the W out. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really worried. We were really dominating them in some low key kind of ways that they really didn't have a chance against us in some ways. Poeltl absolutely was a monster, as Isaac said, and they didn't know how to handle him at all. Let's look at the team stats. They actually shot 1 more field goal than us. So they got the quantity over us, but we got the quality this time. We made 60% of our shots last night. We shot a very high percentage completely throughout the game. And you know why that happens? When you have your number one option be Jakob-stat and he shoots 15 to 17, you get a really high shooting team percentage of 60%. That's fantastic. I told y'all our shooting is going to go up. And 50% for the Magic. So they actually shot very well too. 3-pointers, they actually beat us. They got 13 threes to our 8, and they shot 42% from 3, and we shot 33. But we made up for that deficit in all kinds of other ways. The free throw line was pretty even. We made 15 free throws. They made 14. We shot 75%. They shot 78%. So the refs were pretty fair. I'm not mad at the refs at all. We out-rebound the hell out of them. 40 rebounds with 13 of them being offensive rebounds. I really like I said, this ganging up in offensive boarding where there's like 2 Raptors attacking the boards at the same time, crashing, and the other team is just getting beat because we're using physicality. It may be that like Jakob's using his body and Scotty's coming in with his strength, and we're getting these rebounds. We're out-muscling people. And the other thing that I just really love about it is, like I said, is the effort. There is a crazy inspired effort that Scotty showed after Jakob showed a very inspired effort. Scotty followed up with it right afterwards. These are the kind of things that when you see somebody inspire somebody, like Chris will inspire somebody with energy off the bench to be more energetic, to give a push and up on all the guys when he comes off the bench if they don't start very well. This is a similar thing. Like these guys may see Jakob in there fighting and really going after it, and then it inspires them. Like Scotty got after it after he saw him do it. So I really love that aspect of things. It's a really, really good thing to rub off on each other. Effort, harder effort, and getting after it. The assists were fantastic. 31 assists for the Raptors yesterday, and Fred VanVleet was flirting with possibly beating the Raptors' all-time assist record for a game, which is 19. Fred ended up with, I believe, 15 or so, maybe a little bit less. He had 15, yeah. But a lot of those came very early in the first quarter. Him and Jakob established him and his connection, and they scored like 7 or 8 buckets. Poeltl scored that many, but most of them were off assists from Fred. Fred was really setting him up, and it was really like the Fred to Poeltl show. very early in the game. Fred, 3 of 12, not the best shooting. That's why I didn't pick him as one of the stars, but super, super good. 3 of 9 from 3-point range, 15 assists, 3 steals, block, plus 14, 10 points. And I know the Fred haters are probably coming after him and saying all kinds of crazy, stupid shit. But this is something that was proved last night about Fred. He is a point guard. How do you fucking get 15 assists like that and play like a point guard if you're not a point guard? Everybody says he's not really a point guard. That's bullshit. You see how well he works with Jakob and setting him up. In fact, Jakob was glowing about Fred VanVleet's setups in the post-game interviews, saying this, like, look, it's easy with Fred out there. He really knows how to find me, and I really enjoy playing with him. And that a lot of this stuff is carried over from way before, and it hasn't been forgotten. There's so much value in reacquiring Jakob-stat. There's so much value in it. I'm telling you, it's amazing the impact he's having on us already. As far as other really important team stats from last night, I really like the 11 blocks. The fact that the Raptors as a team got 11 blocks on Orlando, a team that blocked the shit out of us in Orlando in those 2 games we lost to them, that's huge turnaround. Think about it. They were the bullies in Orlando with Bol and Bamba, and they were just not letting us get anything near the basket. Well, we turned it around. We were the bullies this time, and they were not getting anything around our basket in the reverse, just like how they did us in Orlando. I loved being the bigger team. I loved being the bully team against Orlando because they were bullying us. They literally bullied us for 2 games and beat us in Orlando. Well, we bullied them back, and we showed them we're bigger and badder at this point. I'm sorry, we just are. With Poeltl on our team, we are a bigger and better team than y'all. It's just the truth. We did lose the turnover battle by 1, but that ended up not being a huge problem. 74 points in the paint to 54 for them. That's a huge stat also. 74 points in the paint. Another Poeltl stat. That's crazy. So crazy. So good. Abandon's here. Good to see Abandon once again. 30 piece for Yak. Let's go. 1 day at a time, 1 game at a time. Why is the break right now? Well, we'll get it done. Chris Boucher's heading to Miami for his vacation is what he said. He's not going to All-Star. But yeah, Scotty, Pascal going to the All-Star, and the rest of the guys, I don't know where they're going. They can go have fun, go do whatever they're doing. This is without OG and Gary. What we did last night, this is a very good point by G. We're just going to be better and better. And what those guys returning means is we slot guys further down. It means we don't play guys like Delano and Malachi and Jeff. You know, these guys come back and they eat that time up, and we just continue to play all of them. Although we do, if it's a situation like why we use Jeff. Yeah, this is without OG and Gary. They're going to come back, and we're just going to get even more bolstered and have a deeper team with 2 of our starters out last night. I'm telling y'all, things are good. We're in good shape. Black Spawn is here. Bench Mob has reunited. We will be on fire. Yeah, it's so crazy. These guys. Look Poeltl. Look at this Poeltl shirt. I'm so happy to have this shirt with Poeltl on his face and Freddie here and Pascal here. It's just so fun to have this Bench Mob shirt. I love this shirt so much that I've had this for a while, and I'm like, man, it's really coming back around to being a very valuable shirt for me. My Bench Mob shirt. This is so true. This is Bench Mob all grown up and graduated and starting. Coolcat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. A beautiful celebration of Love Day with a W. Yes, what a great Valentine's Day. You know, the Raptors made us their Valentine, and we made them our Valentine. It was just a beautiful Valentine's for that reason, for sure. Our rookie Bench Mob reunited as elite ballers. And sophomore in training, we are rolling. Welcome back home, Yak and Skills vibe through the whole team. Yeah, the vibes are just so strong and fun. And, you know, you can see these guys are smiling, and there's just, oh, my gosh. And seriously, do not underestimate the fact that he's such a big guy that he gives them so much less stress, that he really eases the burden in some very important ways where they were really taking the brunt of this. And you can really understand. It's like you can look and see how Pascal's so happy. He probably never liked playing centers, but he just had to do it because Masai asked him to. Well, now that he doesn't have to, he feels relieved, and it's a little bit easier. The contact is not as much him absorbing it at this point. Seymour saying, good game, good win. Yes, Seymour Pape. Very good to see you this morning. I agree. Very, very good game. And it's a signal. And like I said, that's not a slouch Magic team. They won against Chicago. They'd actually won a couple games on the road in a row. And they're not a slouch team. You see Banchero, how good he is. He's bullying his way around this way and this way. I mean, there are players on that team that are very dangerous and scary. Franz didn't wake up for half the game. He barely scored in the second half, thank God. And he was ineffective. In a lot of ways, Franz Wagner very much did lose that matchup between him and Scotty. Franz was 3 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 6 assists, 1 steal, and 9 points, a minus 13. Well, young Scott Wayne Barnes was 6 of 15 from the field. He did miss both his free point attempts. 5 of 7 from free throw, 3 offensive rebounds, 6 rebounds altogether, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, plus 8, 17 points. So you tell me who's better, Franz or Scotty? Scotty's better. And we can look at Jalen Suggs too, even though because he had a very good stat line. He was 9 of 12, 3 of 6 from 3. He is very much a baller, and I can understand the appeal of him. But I didn't want that kind of player. In some ways, the skills of him being a scorer and balling out are very attractive to us because that may be the kind of scorer we need off the bench. But also at the same time, he's an undersized guard, and I'd much rather have Scotty. And everybody who still maybe hangs on and maybe saw the game last night with what Suggs did, and they still hang on to the idea of him being the one we should have drafted, you're idiots still. Once again, you keep fucking saying this shit, you're crazy and you're stupid. Scotty Barnes was the right pick. Callie's saying those assists by Fred, so great to see. It's a fun game within the game to watch these guys work with each other. I'm telling you, like I said, they have eyes in the back of their head for they know where these guys are going to go. They know how each other likes to get the pass. And if you see Jakob or Fred passing the ball to Pascal, if he's shooting a 3, he's more likely to make it. There's just such a confidence that emanates from Poeltl. It's not only a confidence because you have a big, huge guy on the floor with you helping in the battle. It's a confidence that you will shoot better because he's around. It's a confidence that you will do better, that it just permeates the whole team in new ways that helps them even more. Is a confidence. We've been lacking confidence this season a lot of times, especially with our shooting. And we're going to see more confidence in our shooting for sure. And I love it. I love it. We need to get our field goal percentage up. Having a 60% game last night from field goals is fantastic. And it is the new trend, y'all. It is the new trend. We're not going to get that high up every time, but we're going to be around 50 more often than 40 or 30 from now on. We really are. We're going to probably be between 45% and 50% every single game with Poeltl on the team. Whereas earlier in the season, we would shoot from 30%, between 30% and 45%. Well, we'll be 45% to 50% shooting in games from now on. I can just see it. Forgetful saying, love the formation to start the fourth. 2 point guards, 3 bigs up front, at least 2 who can play, make, and also Poeltl is a master screener. He really is. He's screening every which way, flipping this way, screening this way, and so much freedom and space made up for other guys. That lineup was really weird when they had Jeff and Malachi out there at the same time, but it was effective. They really did buy the time at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they actually added to the lead. They were doing really good things, and it had a lot to do with Jeff's defense on those guards, but also the right kind of guys behind them and keeping them safe behind them. I really like that lineup too. And it was weird. And we saw, like I said, every single player that played for the Raptors yesterday made a contribution of some sort of way to help the win. Even Thaddeus, before he got hurt out there, he had a really nice steal and a dunk and had a couple of things going really well. I hope he's not that hurt. It was really too bad they didn't stop the game and get him out of there. In fact, that's what happens, Nick, when you don't fucking do it. You give up an easy basket because you didn't fucking have the wherewithal to understand your player just got really hurt. And you kind of need to get him out of there, bro. You can't be fucking like, what is this? Maybe you didn't want to waste a timeout. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to figure this out. But yeah, you give him 2 points because obviously he could not walk or he could barely run or anything at that point after he twisted his ankle or something. I don't know. No early word on how Thad is doing after all that. But yeah, he contributed before he got hurt. He had a nice highlight move. He had that one move where he dribbled and totally broke them down and got to the rim. That was hilarious. Like we were schooling them. In some ways, it was like Pascal and Thaddeus and Jakob and Fred. They were schooling the Magic. The Magic are a young team. They're very talented, but in some ways, our vet and our smarts, we really schooled them. We took them to school. We were the bus drivers. Yeah, we took them to school last night. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Isaac saying Pascal sliding into playing power forward with proper interior spacing could mean Pascal will be vying for MVP very soon. Oh, yes. Let's get ahead of ourselves. We know that Pascal, OG, Scotty, Poeltl, and Fred equals deadly. Yeah, it's the signs are all there, Isaac Campbell. We're going to be moving more and more towards a lot of wins right now. We really are. Yeah, I like Siakam's going to have such an easier time scoring. It's not going to feel like he's running through mud anymore when he goes into the lane and tries to beat like two defenders. We're not going to feel like it's so like futile or like he's running into a wall or he's like getting pulled down or all the different shit they've done to him. It's all going to get fixed because Jakob's here now. Tom saying Nurse and Alvin did wonderful. Flynn and Dowtin on the court worked. Yeah, I was really happy to see Alvin Williams return last night. You can tell it's emotional and sad. His mother passing this weekend. Yeah, just really, really happy to see both of them back. I was really worried, getting to start and get worried about Nick Nurse and what was going on with him. But good to see him back. Now we don't know why he left or anything, and maybe we will never find out. But still, I'm just glad he's back. And obviously, if whatever his was taken away is a distraction, he has a good distraction on the team now with figuring out new things to do with Jakob. In fact, this All-Star break may be very interesting. The Nick Nurse may get very creative with devising plans and things that he might want to utilize or try with Jakob. Like seriously, we're just scratching the surface. He can do all this basic stuff right now and be absolutely perfect and be crazy good. Well, as they focus what they want him to do even more, you guys may be shocked at how even more better we can get because of him. And last night it was perfect by Poeltl by himself, but in some ways he's going to make us more perfect around and stuff. So it's going to be really good. I'm so excited about this team, and there's so much good about it. All right, let me see where I jumped ahead. I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss any comments. And I see everybody's in here. It looks like quite a varied lot of names, and I like it. I like it a lot. Holy crap! I'm gonna have to speed up. I'm just gonna do y'all's comments from now on. Okay. Tom Duke, yeah, that's the last one I did. I thought that Flynn and Dowtin was a weird combo, and it actually did work. They were kind of very scrappy backcourt, which really was a good match for Fultz and Suggs. Those guys are annoying. Those guys really are. Markelle Fultz, as much as he's on my fantasy team, he's annoying. And I don't like Jalen Suggs either. He's a punk, and you could tell he has a chip on his shoulder, and he hates the Raptors. So, yeah, I'm not going to be liking Jalen Suggs for a long, long time. And that I can tell he's going to be this guy that's always going to be annoying when we play him. MSJ saying, what a game that was. Yak has done so much for the team's functionality. It's so true in so many different areas. So many different areas he's helping us. It's amazing. It's like they asked him in the interview after the game, it's like, how does it feel to be the perfect fit? And he said something like this. He said, you guys tell me. I haven't been playing for this team very long. And I haven't been here. I haven't been paying attention to them for most of the season. Y'all have been paying better attention. How is my impact on this team right now? It's like he's saying that. Well, what do you think? Do you think I've had an impact on this team? And like everybody's like, yes, because he doesn't really know how much we struggled this year, and he probably has no idea how hard and dark and tough this season has been for us. Because in some ways, he was mired in his own dark and tired realm of games in San Antonio. So it wasn't like his season's gone just like ours. He had it very tough down there. In fact, they were losing worse than us. And they just went on an 11-game losing streak right before they traded him. The Spurs have not won since somewhere in January. So it's been about a month since they've won. So it's like everybody's feeling good because they're both getting a better place between him and us. So it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. G saying this very young team with a center like Poeltl is going to be fire to see their journey. Yeah. Yeah, I'm serious. This is the thing. Jakob Poeltl is a championship kind of player. He's the kind of guy that you put on your team and you win championships because you have him on your team. You put that on with Scotty Barnes, he'll be the same kind of person. He's the same kind of guy too. Freddie, Pascal, these guys are already champions. They want to go get another one. This is all just building to a championship caliber team. In fact, I really do think this core is a championship caliber team. And the people that sullied us and think that we're mid and we're not going to be so good, they don't understand how much one player can really have an impact and change things. Well, Raptor fans are learning it more and more. And last night was a very good evidence of it. Let's see. Sheer Constant, what's the deal with David Thorpe? I'm out of the loop on that one. Well, David Thorpe is apparently a person who's worked with Pascal in the offseason. He's a coach. And he's spreading all these rumors about the Raptors right now that are not helpful to us. He has a connection to us because he got the job for Masai originally in Orlando. When Masai wasn't even in the NBA, he was just starting out. He was the one who opened the door and helped Masai get into the NBA and start his journey to get to where he is today. So in some ways, people tie a connection to him and Masai that's important, that he is an insider or he knows what he's fucking talking about. But in reality, I don't think he does, because we know anybody who works closely with Masai doesn't talk. And that, we're an organization that highly values our privacy and not divulging things that we're going to do at the trade deadline or things with our personnel. And that when David Thorpe gets on his podcast and starts saying we need to fire Nick Nurse today and hire Earl Watson in his place, and the two problems on the team are OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet, and they both need to get traded and leave, that doesn't help Masai Ujiri's job. So that's basically what's happening with David Thorpe. He said a whole bunch of shit on his podcast, and some people in Raptors Nation are championing it and echoing it out and bringing it all over the place. You guys have really bad timing because Jakob's proving y'all to shut the fuck up and that David Thorpe's an idiot. Because listen, everything's getting fixed. And all you people that want to get people's heads out of here or get out of Toronto, well, that period's over, because everybody's going to see how good we are, and they're going to shut up about being upset and being negative very soon. Hopefully it's died down a lot already today, because seriously, we're a good team. We're playing to win. We bought, not sold at the trade deadline, and we are coming to compete in the playoffs this year. So yeah, that's the gist of it, Shere Khan. If you want to go find out, go watch his podcast, and you can hear all the stupid out-of-pocket shit David Thorpe is saying. Yeah, I don't believe him. I do not believe him. Randolph Phillips is saying, good morning, most beloved, most informative gang. Blessings are raining after a good win by our team last night to close out the first half of the season. Looking good, y'all. Yes, it's raining outside, and it's raining just with the sunshine and the love and the happiness and Raptor freak world, because yes, Jakob-stat is here, and he is real, and he is a force, and we are finding out more and more. Jimmy saying, and I love you, Randolph. Good to see you this morning. Jimmy saying, I know by now OG can't win Defensive Player of the Year, but apparently the top three right now is Brook Lopez, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Robert Williams III. OG clears them defensively. If I want to stop someone, put OG on them, not them. All right, I have problems with these guys. Now, if any of these guys are going to win Defensive Player of the Year, give it to Jaren Jackson Jr. Fuck Brook Lopez. He's a fucking goon. He's not a very good defensive player. They're overhyping him. And then Robert Williams III, if you're going to put him on that list, you better keep OG on it, because that motherfucker missed the first 2 months of the season, and he shouldn't be in the Defensive Player of the Year running. I'm sorry. If we're going to discount OG for missing time right now, Robert Williams should not be on that ladder either. So the only one I can get behind is Jaren Jackson. If you want to give him the Defensive Player of the Year, that's fine. But I think you're right, Jimmy. OG getting hurt, he couldn't do that. Robert Williams III apparently can be hurt for a good chunk of the season and still be considered Defensive Player of the Year candidate. But apparently OG can't. Once again, we see how they handhold and favor the Celtics, and they fucking shun us. OG's just as good a defensive player as any of those three guys, and he should still be in that ranking, but he's been hurt recently, so y'all conveniently forgot about him. Well, I have a big problem with Robert Williams being on there, since he didn't fucking play in October or November, and then he's fucking on that list right now. Yeah, that's bullshit. Black Spawn is saying they were deadly when they used to come off the bench. Dwayne Casey as a coach, people have forgotten the bench mob. They really were. They really were deadly. And part of it was that we had a really good starting lineup at the time. You got to remember, that's DeMar and Kyle and Jonas kind of period. It was Jonas and DeMar and Kyle in the starting lineup with Patrick Patterson or somebody. And then these guys came off the bench, and they were so much better than the other team's bench that they would we would have a 10-point lead when our bench would come in, and then when the bench would come out, we'd have a 30-point lead. We'd be up by 10, and Fred and Jakob and Pascal would come out there on the bench mob, and we'd be up by like 20 more afterwards. Like, they would always increase the lead during that period of time, and I loved that. It was fun. It was like we loved our starters, Kyle and DeMar. But a lot of times at that point during the bench mob, we were like really excited to see the bench come in because we wanted to see them kick some ass. But this is so true, Black Spawn. I remember those days and how they would increase our lead when they would come into the game. And that was a huge part of why we had such good regular season records near the end of Casey's coaching career with the Raptors. Black Spawn saying, oh, yeah, that's the one I just read. Van Hoot is here. Good to see Van Hoot. Another learned, intelligent Raptors basketball space on YouTube. Check out Basketball Rewind with Van Hoot. Remember what I said. Poeltl creates spacing through screens. That is all. That is, it's all cheers. Yeah. Van Hoot, I love it. They're so useful and so crazy good. And he's just so, listen, he's just the kind of ultimate teammate you want on your team, because he's really unselfish, but he's really good, and he's really good at doing all kinds of different things, whether he's not scoring or not. You know, we don't have to have him score 30 points regularly. He could score 6 points, and he will still have a winning effect on our team. It's just that we decided to try out what we could do with him offensively last night, and it was very, very, very positive and very fruitful, that's for sure. Let's see. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam. I am still on cloud 9. Jakob was just what the doctor ordered. Yeah, Dr. Nurse ordered. Team defense was fire. Magical win. No pun to the magic. No, it was a magical win. I hope Thad won't be out for a long time. I really hope so, too. In some ways, it's okay. He's somebody we can weather, but he is somebody we're going to need for the playoffs. So we can't have him out for too long. And we do want him to get some games before the playoffs start. So, you know, they say they don't know a timetable on him. So, but it could be that he's just out for over the break and he's healthy when we get back for New Orleans. So we'll have to see. We'll keep our fingers crossed and send good, positive, healing vibes to Thaddeus Young. And hopefully everything will be all right. I hope that didn't damper their Valentine's Day either, him and Shanika. Yeah, it's too bad to see him get hurt. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. Trevor's here. Shout out to the Raptors haters and front office haters. That's right. How could you doubt Masai? Don't you guys know the one rule of being a Raptor fan? Trust in Masai. Trust in Masai, baby. It's like I see on Twitter, Raptors Twitter, some idiots are posting that Shaq quote. It's like, oh, I have to apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game, to Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri this morning, because of the way Poeltl played last night, and they were all dissing the trade deadline. Yeah, y'all don't understand basketball. Y'all who thought the trade deadline was stupid and we messed up, you just don't understand basketball. You just got to tell yourself that at this point, that you fucked up. This is the most clear fuck up of judgment that you've made, and you're caught that you don't know what you're fucking talking about if you diss the trade deadline for the Raptors this year. You're an idiot if you thought that we lost or failed at the trade deadline. I'm sorry. That's just the damn truth. And you're getting proved right away, like you did last night, even more so. I mean, do you feel like an idiot for doubting the great Masai and not trusting in Masai? Why did you break the number one golden rule of being a Raptors fan? Trust in Masai. What the fuck is wrong with you? Come on. Trevor J, you go. And shout out to the haters. How you feeling today? Oh, Robert? Yeah, how you feeling today about this move? Was it an idiot move? Was it a stupid move? Yeah. No, it wasn't. Let's see. Tom Duke is laughing. He's got the hand. He's embracing winning. That's right, Tom Duke. You go, Tom Duke. Mike is here. Logical Raptors fanatic. Check out the channel. Salute the Real Ones, Project Truth always. And he is laughing. He's like, yes, Mike is feeling it too. Because the Crusaders of Project Truth love when the truth arrives in the station. When that train pulls up and says, woo, the truth just arrived last night. And he's a big 7'1" Austrian. When that truth arrives, Project Truth feels real good because the doubt is gone. That the reality is here. And then people know that this is the new era of the yak. That's right. There was a yak attack last night. And somebody put on Twitter, it's like attacked by a yak. And it was Orlando Magic symbol. And it's like, oh, they had a yak attack. That's right. You just survived the yak attack. Orlando Magic got your ass beat. Yeah, yeah. All right, Mike's saying to those who say Poeltl doesn't fit, really? He doesn't fit? I think you might need to watch that game last night. Yeah, he does, and he is always fit with Spicy and Fred. Bench mob for life. Let's get them to championship mob level in the next years. Yes, Mike. Yes, 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 yes. Masai Ujiri ain't fucking around. He only wants Larry O'Brien's. And Nick Nurse and Jakob-stat, Pascal Siakam, and Fred VanVleet are the same. And you don't think that these guys are going to figure out how to go and get it? Listen, this offseason is going to be fun because we may just need to go get one guy, one bench scorer guy to bolster us. And then next year, we have a real championship caliber team. That we're going to go into the season with a real center and a very savvy and smart and intelligent team playing center that plays so perfect with our guys already because they are a cohort that came into the league together as rookies and they love each other. I'm telling you, it is just too good to be true in some ways, but it is true. You think it's not true, y'all, haters. You're gonna think it's this is too good to be true. Something's weird. No, trust me. This is the kind of shit you can't fuck up in some ways unless really, really bad shit happens, which none of us wish on this team. So this is the kind of shit you're gonna win. This is slam dunk. It's just like Tim Duncan's winning percentage. Get used to the Raptors having a win percentage like that because we have a capable front line with good defense. Yeah, we're gonna be winning like the Spurs win that percentage with Tim Duncan because we got Jakob-stat. I love it. I love it. I love it. ALLSTAR saying Poeltl is underrated like Duncan was for years. I think Duncan was better than Shaq, but wasn't nearly as exciting. Yeah, and he didn't want all this shine and luster. He was begrudgingly a superstar in the NBA, but he was so good. He had to be in that category and then put on blast. He's never comfortable with that. That wasn't why he played. He played for the very pure good reasons to play the game. And that's why he won championships. That's why he won games. And that's why we're going to win games because Poeltl plays the same way. And Scotty will too eventually. Watch. Scotty's going to be a player like Duncan down the road, just known for his team defense, team rebounding, and just team excellence as far as contributing to a win, an undeniable, unsung, like kind of not in the stats kind of way. That there's a lot of things that are intangibles that Jakob's doing right now that will rub off on Scotty also and will make him a more complete team player. And that's the thing that I'm really excited about too. Is that he will rub off on young Scott and it may make his career way better. Scotty Barnes may be very thankful that he's playing next to Jakob-stat because in some ways he can teach him things to make him more valuable and a better winning team player in this league. And more you mimic Jakob in certain ways, Scotty, the smarter. It could be with the screens. It could be with the mentality of how you help on defense. It could be with, any kind of little things. There's certain insights and things that he does that you could copy and you would be very successful for the rest of your career, Scotty. So pay attention to Poeltl. I know you will. You're that kind of sponge. And he's a great person to sponge off of. I'm going to tell you right now. Let's see. MSJ saying at Isaac, can't wait. Scotty Barnes can slide to play more guard. I know. It's so fun. Pascal is free. Yep. He's like way more clear and getting easier, not as much contact. You see him not working as hard. You see at the end of the game, he's not as tired. There's all kinds of good benefits to not wearing him down by having to do so much physical work. Let's see. We can stop the endless threes teams were taking on us. Bench makes more sense, but Jakob 30? Wow. Yeah. All of this, MSJ. It's all going to be really good. Our bench will be better. We'll have better defense, better rebounding, better shooting, better spacing, better vibes, better. Everything better. It's all going to be way better. Yeah, Fred doesn't have to play hero ball. That's a good, in some ways we want him to still. Like, that's important. Fred playing hero ball is important in certain situations. We need a hero. And I still think he's a very good person for making decisions at the end of the game, even though a lot of people in Raptors Nation don't. I think he's fantastic for making the decisions. And especially if he's got an easy dump off of a big man that's going to make an easy shot like he was doing last night. Blackhawks saying, great way to close out before All-Stars. I hope the team gets the rest they need and come back with OG and Gary. Raps will come out ruthless after the All-Stars. Yeah, I hope so too. They may be very excited now because they're feeling good. This may be perfect in some ways. They're feeling real good. They got to anticipate and think about and kind of dwell on the new look of the Raptors and really kind of foresight, think ahead, and like thinking about, we're going to play with New Orleans the first game back, and this is what I want to do when we get back. Maybe kind of think about for the rest of the season, the way that they're going to like really establish Jakob in the team and how they want to use him. There's all kinds of brainstorming and maybe a little reflection for the players while they're away from the game. And maybe they come back with a whole kind of like they're already in a positive mood. There's so many good things that could happen. You don't want to be going into the All-Star break with a loss. Orlando, in some ways, is on pause with a loss for the whole break. And the fact that we didn't lose last night and we won and we're showing the signs of dominance again, it's all very, very good. So health gets better over the break. Maybe they have some foresight and reflection. They think about the season for the rest of the season and maybe mini goals for themselves and for the team and all kinds of different stuff. They can get reoriented and have a really good, strong focus when they come together and face the Pelicans on the other side of the break. Yeah, I like it. Isaac's saying winning basketball is over losering and not betting on yourself in life. Exactly, y'all. You want to be a loser? Go ahead and believe the Raptors are a shitty team. And just, you're dragged along with us. We're winning. You're not losing, you idiot, even though you think we're losing. Forgetful saying anybody who questioned Masai needs to give their head a smack with a 2x4. Yeah, we get old Hacksaw Jim Duggan down here. Where is he? He's got the 2x4. He's somewhere in here. There he is. Let me see if I can get him with the 2x4. Oh, he dropped it. Hang on. All right, let me do a really quick impression. We'll do a little bit of WWF puppet theater. Whoa! Oh, all right. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Bear with. Hey, tough guy! Ho! If you don't believe in Masai Ujiri, tough guy, ho! Hacksaw Jim Duggan's got something for you. The 2x4 up the head. Ho! Hacksaw Jim Duggan. All right. Yeah, that's true. You need a 2x4 outside your head, as Forgetful said, for sure. Wayne is here. Good to see Wayne. Another day in a row. Good to see Wayne. As we mentioned yesterday, Jakob is in the upper echelons of efficiency and productivity in the league. He's a legitimate option in the offensive options. Yeah, we really saw that. And maybe we went to the well too much last night, but I don't think so. Maybe you really wanted to see how much we could beat somebody over the head with him down low. And they really weren't adjusting well. I don't know who their matchup was to bring onto him to try and stop him in an adjustment during the game. It wasn't like they tried to bring in Bobo and use his extra length against him. It wasn't like Banchero had any luck in really controlling him with his body. There was one point in the game where Wendell Carter tried to push Jakob, and Mo tried to push him, and then finally Mo moved him. And it was almost like he felt like he needed to make sure he could still move him because he wasn't moving him. Mo Wagner could not move Jakob-stat. He's too strong. So it's crazy. He may be one of the strongest guys in the league. He could be. I'm pretty sure he's in the top 15. And that ain't bad to have. We've got our own Steven Adams out there all of a sudden, because that is a big thing. If you have a strong dude out there, it can really, really help with muscling things around down there. And we saw it with him and Scotty down there muscling people. Yeah, that's a tag team other teams don't want to deal with on the boards. Scotty and Jakob both getting after it. That was such a fun possession when they were both attacking and getting the rebound. That was so cool. I loved seeing that so much. Yeah, he's going to be a really good release of emergency. If we're in trouble at the end of the shot clock, get it to Jakob. He'll just make a little short touch and boom, it'll go in more often than not. G's saying Jakob at 30 points at 88% shooting with 9 rebounds and 6 blocks. Celebration. That's what they said. Basketball Reference has put this as one of the top 100 performances by a Raptor all time in the history of the Raptors. That he has a stat line that goes in there with the top 100 performances ever by a Raptor. That is really saying something. The statistically is that good. Shere Khan saying, yeah, Saturday activities are not good now. Nothing to look forward to anymore. Looking forward to Scotty and Pascal doing their thing. The skills competition just doesn't have any star power. The 4 people that are in the dunk competition are not that exciting. If they had Shaden Sharp, it would be way, way better. And then the 3-point shooting's weird. They're not the most, I mean, some of them have been in the competition a lot, but they're not the most exciting 3-point shooters. I feel like Utah got snubbed. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they really dropped the ball by not having Watanabe in the 3-point competition. That they had their opportunity, and in some ways, he's very good as like the player from Japan. That is very good for international audiences to see Utah in the 3-point shootout. But you drop the ball, Adam Silver, and you pick some very boring field for the 3-point shootout. I was kind of like, I don't want to do this now because we're going to have to do this content this weekend. But I was kind of talking with people in the Facebook chat last night about my choices for who I'd like to win. But I'm going to save that for the preview and stuff when we go to this weekend. Because it's going to be hard for me to make content. Some of these streams are going to be very short this weekend. I don't think I'm going to want to talk too much about the All-Star over the weekend. But we'll check in and we'll talk a little bit at 9:30 anyway about each event the days after, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So, and tomorrow we're doing a think tank. We're going to do a Thursday think tank just like we do in the off season. And it's going to be really silly, but because of yesterday, but it's going to be about how do you feel about the rest of the Raptors season? Do you think it's going to be positive or negative? That'll be the Thursday think tank tomorrow. And we're going to have everybody who has positive feelings like we do. And hopefully some people that are kind of still pessimistic about the Raptors and their chances will come in also. And we'll just debate, are the Raptors on their way up or on their way down? I know that may sound silly at this point to ask that, but I wasn't sure how they do last night. And this is kind of what I was already planning to do on Thursday. I think it's a pretty slam dunk answer, but there may be people still that are not bought in and still think, oh, it's a fluke. It's Orlando. They're one of the worst teams in the East. Of course you could do that. You know, we want to see where we are as a Raptors nation and how we perceive where we're going for the rest of the season. That's all we're looking at tomorrow, whether we're going up or we're going down. It's that simple. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be in the camp that thinks we're going up, like me. And we'll have to see. But we'll do that tomorrow. That'll be the Thursday think tank content for tomorrow, talking about whether we're on our way up or down. But I think it's pretty evident after last night. And maybe I need to change the content. Let's see. Monique is saying, so much fun, slowly but surely, a great feeling. We will make it. And yes, I said it loudly. Can I say yak over everything? Monique, at the game last night, so fun. I'm glad you were able to be there in the building. And also, I saw your picture with Danielle Michaud. Very cool. Monique hobnobbing with the media personalities at the game once again. She got her pictures taken with Danielle. And fantastic job, Monique, bringing the vibes down the building. I'm sure it was a joy to be around the Scotiabank Arena last night with the greatness of Jakob-stat on the court. Let's see. G saying Suggs did well. I like his mentality of trying to hush the crowd. Can't fault him for that. Yeah, there's something about Suggs that we lack on our team that I wish we had more of. It's that mentality of like, I want to destroy you. You're an opponent and I hate you and you slighted me and I have a chip on my shoulder and I'm going to score no matter what. And I'm going to be annoying and I'm coming at you relentlessly. Yeah, he's that kind of guy. And in some ways, I get why people would want him on our team. But once again, he's undersized for his position. I'd much rather be very big like we are now. And if he was in our team, we'd always be undersized. And that's part of the reason why they wanted us to draft him. If you notice, every year when the draft projections come out from ESPN, they always have us taking an undersized guard. They always want us to continue. They wanted to peg the Raptors as a team that always has undersized guards over the last 15 years or so because of Kyle Lowry and then Fred VanVleet. And they want us to continue our tradition of having undersized guards. It's so stupid. We do not have a tradition of that. And there's no reason why we should continue it if we did. And that's why getting Scotty instead really signaled to me, fuck that undersized guard bullshit. Even last season, when we had the pick for Koloko, the ESPN people wanted us to take J.D. Davison, who got selected by the Celtics eventually. And he's playing on the main Celtics. And the dude is a little guard. And he's so little. So whenever you see, when this comes around this year for the draft, when you see the projections about who the Raptors should draft, go and look at their position and see if they're an undersized guard and then disregard it. Just be like, this is bullshit. Because this is the same tired-ass ESPN writer just putting an undersized guard in our slot to be drafted. And that's the whole way this whole stupid Suggs thing started, is that ESPN wanted to put the undersized guard prospect in the first round on our team. Well, we fucked that up. We took the big stud, chip, broad shouldered, 6'9" kid from Florida State instead. And that's who they wanted on Orlando, honestly. I mean, you think about it. He's from Florida. He went to Florida State. They wanted him to be on the Magic, and we were supposed to take Suggs. Well, Masai said, fuck all that shit. I make my own destiny for my own team. And that's why we need to trust in Masai, because he don't listen to the NBA. He doesn't listen to the fans. He knows what's right. And he knows, and that's why I'm so glad he picked Scotty Barnes and not Jalen Suggs, because you can really see the difference in who they would be on the teams at this point. And I'm so much happier with size and versatility over even like a great baller mentality that's absolutely like relentless and just annoying. I'd much rather have Scotty. And I do not regret that at all, even though Jalen Suggs was very impressive last night for sure. Troy saying 30 points just in the paint, twos all day, big guy. Game is so easy for our guys now. Fred with that 15 assists was just money. Yeah, yeah. You know, he's a point guard. I want these people to understand that Fred plays point guard. He can shoot too. And he, you know, it's G saying, Lex, you were so excited about Jakob and you knew what he could do. You said it with your chest too. Good for you. Listen, I mean, I'm telling y'all, I've been watching a long time, and I really do handicap rosters by who's on the team and looking at who's there. And when I saw that addition, I was like, there's too many holes that we had that are filled now for it not to be a slam dunk. But I appreciate you recognizing that, G. And once again, like I've been on doing this for a year and a half now. You know, there's different times where I am very good at predicting, but sometimes I'm completely wrong. But I'd like to think, much like Jakob's shooting percentage, my shooting percentage is pretty similar with making predictions. I would like to shoot about 62% with my predictions and getting them right. And I think I'm around there. I might be around there. I don't know. Nobody's keeping that statistically. You know, there's a funny clip right now. And Greg, I understand why you're responding to Misovic in your latest clip on the Gubstown Clank. But also you're validating him. You're giving him credit because you're being very polite to him, but he's full of shit. And you even put the clip on your clip of him being recorded in 2000, whatever, when we did the draft, of saying we should take Suggs over Scotty Barnes. You have it, the clip, and in your show on the thing you put on there. It's obvious that he did say that we should have taken Suggs, and he's backtracking on it. That's the funny thing about doing things on YouTube, bro. They're all receipts. Like, y'all can go back and check my receipts. There's some dumbass shit I said. Like, I thought that we shouldn't start Scotty and that he had no chance of winning the Rookie of the Year. I said that at the beginning of the year last year, and I was wrong. But yeah, my receipts aren't as bad as, like, there's literally a clip of He Who Shall Not Be Named saying the Raptors need to pick Jalen Suggs over Scotty Barnes. This fanboy is so bullshit. He's made up this thing that he's always believed in Scotty, whereas there's a clip showing him saying they should take Suggs. So whatever. It's ridiculous. Go check out Gubstown Clank. His latest clip is a response to He Shall Not Be Named. I didn't like that clip, Greg. And if you're going to do stuff with him, don't validate him. Seriously, just come at him with the way you're supposed to. I know you're fair. Maybe you're friendly in his space and stuff like that, but fuck that shit. He's a liar. And your piece was very good in some ways, but also in some ways I didn't like it because you're kind of validating him also. So that's what I would say. Wayne's here saying Raptor Freaks did say that bringing back Jakob was a reunification, which is a good thing. Fantastic call, Alex. Thank you, Wayne. And listen, seriously, I mean, a lot of people already could predict that. You know, people just know. You know, the team probably predicted this in some ways. They're like, oh, it's over. Fred's like, oh, shit, Jakob's on my team again? Oh, he's like this. He's like, Fred for sure was licking his chops when he heard that Poeltl was back on our team, I'm sure. And, of course, Pascal went on different levels. It was just profound happiness that one of his best friends is back. And then also, you know, he knows how much it's going to help him in so many different ways. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of easy to predict in some ways. I don't really feel like I went out on a limb. It's just that there's so much noise that's silly and crazy right now that you make that kind of positive like bet on ourselves, like they have. You know, some people are like, no way, man, we've been so bad this year. How could we bet better? Well, this is how. Mike's saying Fred VanVleet with the crazy amount of assists. Yeah, been low key pumping this point, but yeah, Fred isn't everyone's favorite, so I haven't really blasted it. But this point is Fred has grown as a playmaker this year. It's honestly not even this year, Mike. He's always had this. It's just that he's been dormant in him. He had to be a point guard of his whole life because he's always been one of the shortest guys in the game. He's been trained as a point guard. He's a point guard at Wichita State. He's a point guard very early on in his Raptor career. He was a very just solid just point guard when he was a backup. He didn't really become a shooter until he got into the starting lineup, and we started evolving him as a shooting guard, kind of point guard next to Lowry. But he's always been a point guard first. And this is something that's always been there. It's just that he hasn't been going towards it in that way like he did last night. But yeah, he can do this again. And I honestly, I want him to be more like this. There's no reason why Fred has to shoot so much. It really is he's got to test the temperature of the water for the night. And some nights he needs to step up and make the shots for us because we need people to. But some nights he can do what he did like last night and be more passing than shooting himself. But I still want him to be very like shooting oriented also because he's just one of our best 3-point shooters and we need him to score. We just do. MSJ saying Pascal as an all-star snub wasn't really. Team's record was poor and he looked tired. With Yak, we will see more energy enter his game now. Defending players 25 pounds bigger every night drained him. Yeah, that's all true. You know, in some ways you're right. Our record didn't allow him to be on the first initial all-star, but in some ways that's bullshit. Because his stats are absolutely all-star stats. And it's like they said, if he did not get an injury replacement, it would have been a travesty because he would have had one of the best stat lines ever in the history of the NBA that did not get to go to the all-star game. So I don't know. There's two ways to this. Sure, you could blame the team and stuff like that. But in some ways, there's also the Canada discount because of the Raptors. And it's not totally fair. If LeBron can play, I know it's LeBron and everything like that, but he's on such a shitty Lakers team. There's other players on the West Side that are playing for very shitty teams that are easy all-stars. And in some ways, Pascal should be an easy all-star even if he's on a shitty team. He's just that good. So I don't know. I'm just glad he got it, but in some ways he is slighted by not getting the first place. But I also understand MSJ that the record is a huge factor in why. Isaac saying MSJ 100%. His aggression and selfless team play is hella underrated too. When OG returns, we will really see the impact on depth and synergy. Yeah, we're gonna have a bench finally. Yeah, a lot of things have been fixed just by getting a center. Pascal is he's gonna be changing his game slightly right now too because of Jakob. ALLSTAR saying at MSJ exactly he will average 30 easy. Yeah, I mean Pascal or who do you mean is going to average 30? ALLSTAR, Pascal. Yeah, he could uptick it a little bit. Calapoon's here. Look at the ESPN addicted Raps pundits online being all like, "I'll never forgive Masai for not giving our team all of its talent to help out the Celtics and Clippers, but I guess winning is okay, sort of." Listen, they're just upset. Part of it is, like I said, this isn't even Raptors Nation. This is other teams acting like they're our nation and coming into our spaces and telling us to trade Fred, trade OG, fire Nick, fire Masai. Why do you think they tell us to go after these people? Because they're some of our best people, and they really do want us to get worse. They wanted Kyrie and Kevin to get traded just like we did. It's a similar phenomena. These other teams around us root for us to destroy our team so that we're easier to beat. So when we build instead and make it even better, that scares the shit out of them. And they intensify the bullshit noise of saying, oh, they make it more muddled and confusing about what we're doing and whether it's good or not. Well, you get results on the court and we see wins, and they need to shut up. And that's really what it is. So don't be a Raptor person that falls for their bullshit. Just trust in Masai and stay positive with the Raptor Freak crew, because we know we're going to sail the ship through all this confusion and noise in the media and the fan nation, not the fan nation, the Raptors nation, and just don't listen to it because it's obvious what's happening with us. They want us to destroy the team. That's why they go for Fred's head. That's why I don't trust Misovic because I could see somebody paying him on the down low to go after Fred to get him off our team because they know that it'll ruin our team. It'll make our team worse if we get rid of Fred. And that's why some of these people are out there. They're not people from our nation. They're people from Sixers and Celtics nation putting that narrative in our real fans and fucking confusing them. So listen, don't turn on Fred, don't turn on Nick, don't turn on Masai, don't turn on Pascal. They're all very good people. And that's why they talk about wanting us to get rid of them, because they know we will be weakened if we lose any of them. And OG too. OG's another one. They say, oh, they wish we would trade OG Anunoby so that they could get their hands on it and we wouldn't have him because we would be less of a team without him. So there's really a lot of it right there. There's really a lot of it, Calapoon. Monique is saying, way to pull through, Alvin Williams. That Rico Hines interview was too short, but good. Monique, that's just the first clip. That's just the teaser, that 5-minute clip. We're going to get the whole 45 minutes to an hour. It will come out probably in the next, it may come out today, honestly. We'll see that whole Rico Hines. That's not the whole thing, Monique. There's way more. And yeah, I'm proud of you, Alvin. It's tough. Listen, number 20, we love you. Real ones know you and who you are and the importance of the Raptors history. Alvin Williams, I'm so happy to see you back. And we are still sending our condolences and sympathies to the Williams family and what they've been dealing with this week. It is just tough, and just to show the strength to come back to work and do a really good job last night. Honestly, you were entertaining, funny, and once again, we love hearing all the stuff you said. There was one point where Fred passed Alvin on the all-time steals list, I think it was, and Alvin called him a sucker. Oh, you sucker! You took my record. I love that kind of shit. When he's in a broadcast booth with Matt, and he loses some of his records, they always point it out, and he always reacts funny. It's hilarious. You go, Alvin Williams. Cool Cat saying Jakob will also be teaching Koloko how to be an effective center. Pascal and OG's legs will be saved with the return of Jakob. Chip run timeline moved up. Yeah, I agree with all of this. There was a point in time where I caught Jakob on the bench sitting next to Koloko, very much engaged in a conversation with him and pointing on the court and explaining something to Christian. So I saw it happening in the game last night, the tutelage and this passing down of knowledge from Poeltl to Koloko on the bench. There's a point in the game where you'll see it if you go back and watch. I love that, and it is happening, Cool Cat. It'll be so good for Christian. Now, there's some people that are really upset right now that Christian's not getting to play again on the main squad. They feel like maybe instead of Thad or some other people, he should be getting into the game. I can't totally disagree, but also at the same time, it's good to keep him hungry. And it's also, he's getting a ton of burn on the 905 now, that we really were using him on the main roster because we didn't have a Jakob. But now we don't have to. And in some ways, we don't want to throw him into the fire. And maybe it's better for him to learn sometimes from the bench to a degree. So everybody who chill out on pushing the Koloko should be playing more kind of narrative right now. He's in development, and we really need those minutes to explore more with Jakob right now. And in some ways, I don't want to overuse Koloko in certain ways, but he will get his time back out there again. And I'm very curious to see lineups with him out there with Jakob. That if they play Christian and Jakob together, this could be very weird and interesting. Sheer Khan saying the new major is going to be from the same group of people. We need a proper election for this. Yeah. Okay. So they're going to just reelect somebody from their group, from Tory's group. Yeah. I don't know exactly how it all works when this situation happens in politics here in Toronto with the mayor. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. I really hope they do a proper election. The person who came in second was the person I voted for, Gil Penalosa. And I would love for him to be the mayor of Toronto. If they could just give it to the guy who got second, that'd be great. But, I'm jaded. I really feel like if they do another election, it could be that they're going to bring in somebody else, and it's going to be even worse and even more working hand in hand with Doug Ford as the premier and the bullshit that he's doing. So I'm really worried. In some ways, John Tory wasn't good, but in some ways, I'm worried there may be somebody worse coming in now. So hopefully maybe we can get somebody better instead of worse. I don't know how it's going to go. It's all muddled. Some people are saying he's going to hang around anyway, even though he said he'd resign. Some people are saying that now he's backtracking. He may not resign. I have no idea what's going to happen with this. In some ways, it's annoying that they kind of gave us the saying, oh, he's going to leave. And yay, everybody's happy. But now they're trying to backtrack on it, and there's even polls trying to say you shouldn't resign. We love you. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? He gets a free pass. You're gonna say corruption's okay in the government? I mean, it already is happening like crazy, you know. Man, anyway, it bugs the hell out of me, Shere Khan. The politics in Ontario suck. The fact that Doug Ford is our premier is really messed up. And I didn't like that Tory was the mayor either. And I was hoping we could improve this. Let's hopefully it maybe still can happen. Mike saying Dowtin was being lazy and conserving energy on defense, not playing full out. Rico said something in the summer. Now Dowtin learned how the Raptors play defense all the time, even practice runs. Well, that's not actually Mike. I think I explained this to you. What happened at R.Hines was he was too aggressive. He was like fouling everybody. One of the things that they say is they want to put your hands in and try and strip the ball and be very aggressive, but they don't want you to do it in a way where you're just getting fouls. You really do have to do it like Gary and Fred, where you're really like getting your hand on the ball clean, and they can't call the foul on you. So Jeffrey wasn't doing that. It wasn't that he was being lazy with aggression. He was basically fouling every time. And that Fred got really mad at him that day at R.Hines. Like he was saying, dude, you're just going to fucking foul me every time. It's not fair. And then Rico said, y'all need to play right. You need to play clean. You can't just foul every time down the court. So he was actually telling him to stop being so aggressive and fouling so much. That's what was happening. He wasn't being lazy. Trust me. He was being too eager. And he was getting in there and he was just hitting people on the arm. And Rico told him to stop fouling everybody. It's basically what happened on that episode of R.Hines runs from last summer. That's what happened. Jimmy's saying he who shall not be named must be in a shambles, that we're building on something good, dude. Would rather us give up on them than battle like warriors. That's what I'm saying. What do you want? Everything you said on your channel and other people that are like you don't want good things for the Raptors. Because when we're starting to have success and good things, you're more upset about it than happy about it. You're more like, damn, I'm wrong and my ego's bruised, than like, I'm so glad my team is better and awesome because Jakob's here. That is the difference right there. And you're right, Jimmy. The more the Raptors are successful going out for the rest of the season, the more the haters will shrivel up like the Wicked Witch in the West, water on her. They'll be like, no, Fred's playing good. No, and they'll fucking, they'll be miserable. They'll just be even more miserable, and we'll be winning and we'll be great. And they'll be miserable fucks, even though we're winning. And that's how they're not really for the team. If you're for the team, you'd be happy when they're winning. Wayne saying Christian Koloko should eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with Jakob. He should be begged to be mentored by him. I'm sure he will. Christian is an A+ student. He was a nerd when he was a kid. Like you see pictures of Christian when he was young. He had the glasses on, and he was very studious. He was a high achiever. Like he went into school and he wanted to get all straight A's. He was very much a big, big dork and a big nerd. And that's the same way he's approaching his NBA career. It's the way he approaches everything in his life. When I did the personality assessment on Christian, he really is like an honor student. He's this kind of kid who goes and takes like AP classes and really tries to learn on a high level. He's super, super smart, and he is very much a sponge. In fact, him and Scotty share this quality. They're very, very, very smart, but they also have a very, very, very like starved to learn all the time. And trust me, he's picking up from everybody there. When Kem was still there, he was listening to him. He's listening to Thad. He's listening to Wancho. He's listening to everybody on that team. Big Cat. He's listening to all the other coaches, and especially now Jakob. And I think you're right. They should be putting them next to each other on the bus. They should be putting them next to each other on the plane. They should be putting them like maybe they're running into each other at OVO and they're getting in the chill tub or the hot tub after practice or cool down. They should be sitting in there talking and just kind of going back and forth about basketball philosophy and different things, and just Christian, glean as much as you can from Jakob-stat, because once again, Jakob-stat is an extension of Greg Popovich in a way. In some ways, we have Greg Popovich kind of coaching our team as our center on the court, which is crazy. So if you think about it that way, he's an extension of Pop. And he could teach stuff about Pop and what Pop would say without us ever having Pop on our team. It's so crazy. That's a benefit that nobody's talking about also. You have the mind of Pop in Jakob. It's such a great, great thing to have. Blackhawk saying, Lex, I don't care that JT had an affair. That is between him, his wife, and the coworker. Coworker is not complaining. Hell, the coworker should get a medal for taking one for the city. I know, and in some ways, I don't care either. But this is the way it's always been in politics. And are we going to backslide on standards and ways we do things? All of a sudden, this is something that's been important in the past, ethics. And we're losing our ethics in politics and leadership. And if people aren't going to show any ethics, why should anybody in this world? We'll just evolve into chaos and it doesn't fucking matter anymore. I might as well just go down the street and steal everything. Well, people are already doing that because the prices are too high and it's all unfair and the system's all fucked up. So that's what I'm saying. You want law and order in this world, we need rules. And if you're not going to follow the rules, put Trump in jail for sedition and fucking trying to throw over the government in the United States, or John Tory putting his dick somewhere he shouldn't have. We need to have rules and hold people to them, because when you don't, nobody's going to follow any rules, and then we go into anarchy and chaos. So if we're going to do that, we might as well go ahead and do it full on. And I'm fine with it to a degree, because this world is really kind of burning down. And we just want to go into later stages of the late stage of capitalism before the decline of Western civilization. You go ahead. We can continue to break all the rules and throw them all out and just go into a society of anarchy. Fine. I would be fine with that, because I'm all for anarchy, especially if it upends the system. We get something better after the destruction. But yeah, that's the way it'll be then, Blackhawk. We might as well just throw all the rules out and everybody can fucking do whatever they want. And then they'll bring out the military police state and start really treating us the way that they've wanted to the whole time. And yeah, it's not going to be pretty. It'll be a totalitarian regime with the military being the police. The police will be the military keeping us in line, because we've gotten too out of pocket, because society's devolved into this finally. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it really could go pretty quickly. Watch. So that's what I'm saying. These things do matter, even if it doesn't really matter, but it is historically mattered. That's what I'll say. Forgetful saying, I meant thanks, Pop, not Doc. It's all right, Forgetful. You are just fulfilling your name that you forgot it is Pop, not Doc. I knew who you meant when you said that. But yeah, let's not give any credit to Glenn. I say Dr. Rivers, no, Dr. Nurse or Dr. Griffin. Kareem saying, I got the day off today. I'm planning on going to Scotiabank Arena to start laying down the foundation to build the Jakob-stat statue. You know what you could do, Kareem? Go down there and take one of the Leaf statues and just cut the hockey stick out of his hand and maybe get the helmet off and just say this is the new Poeltl statue or something. I don't know. I don't know what you should do. Where should we put it in the building too? I'm all for this, Kareem. I might even come down there and help you. I'll meet you down there and we'll start planning the site and we'll start building it, right? And nobody needs to know what we're doing even. We'll just show up and we'll start doing it and say, what are those guys doing over there? I wonder what they're doing. And then we'll just make a fake statue and put it up there. Yeah, it'd be awesome. G saying, League Alerts, IG posted Jakob and fans from Golden State, the Heat, the Celtics want their GMs to go after him in free agency. It's nice to know he genuinely wants to be here. Yeah, tough titty, fat chance, you teams. You're not going to get him. Seriously, it's already set up. He's going to be a Raptor next year. He's going to re-sign with us. We'd be stupid not to keep him on our team. I don't care about the other free agents. People will say, oh, we need Fred and Gary back. Well, number one priority to get back is Jakob, as far as I'm concerned. In fact, he is not as easy to replace as those other two guys, even with how much I value Fred. So in some ways, yeah, we need to make sure this man is in the Raptor red next season, highest priority. And especially if these teams are lusting for him. Yeah, it's all set up, man. He's with his best friends again. It's easy. He's familiar. He's very happy. He's already said he wants to re-sign with us next season. So you go ahead. As Masai says, you can dream. You can dream of Messi. You can dream of Ronaldo. You can dream of Kobe. You can dream of Jakob. But you ain't going to get him. No, you're not. And that's what Masai is going to say. I love it, G. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The Celtics wanted him, and we beat the Celtics to get him at the trade deadline. Y'all need to champion and echo this. If people are not saying this in Raptor space is enough, that fuck all this saying we lost the trade deadline. We won the trade deadline because we got Jakob-stat over the Boston Celtics. Nobody's saying this. I don't understand why Raptor fans can't champion something that is true. The Celtics wanted him just as much as we did, and they failed to get him, and we got him. That's a win for the Raptors over the Boston Celtics. So go championship this. Go tell this to other spaces right now and say, y'all are not talking about this enough, that we won the trade deadline against Boston by getting him and landing him. And we will land him again this summer when he's a free agent too. Monique saying came home and inside the NBA crew raving about Poeltl. Power so beautiful. Yes, that's good that Charles and Shaq and those guys, I'm sure they learned how to say his name in the years he was on San Antonio finally. You know, Shaq saying Jakob-Poeltl's name is probably pretty comical. But yeah, you better get his fucking name right. I'll tell you right now, put some respect on Jakob-Poeltl's name. Oh, yeah. Now, I have a theory. This is something that I realized last night, and it's something that I kind of been thinking about for a while. You know, one of the problems with the Raptors this year has been their transition defense. In fact, we saw it last night, times where Markelle Fultz would bring the ball down the court so quickly and they score so fast on us. I have a theory on why our transition defense may be poor at home. I'm not going to say this is on the road, but this is at home. We have problems with transition defense because of Herbie. Herbie, you're fucking us up, bro. I love you so much. You've been with the Raptors since the very beginning, and your voice is very much a part of the Raptors' history. You hear Herbie's voice and you think Raptors. But Herbie, when you call the score for us at one end of the lane at the basket, if we make a basket and you're yelling, Fred Van Vliet, 4-3 from Jakob-Poeltl, you're announcing baskets made for like 30 fucking seconds. You stretch out those words so long that there's two things you're doing. You're fucking up our transition defense because there's two things you're doing. There's like they can't get in sync. The other team's hearing you call and they're coming down, they're scoring while you're in the middle of like the third syllable of what you're saying. You need to slow down. You need to quicken up. You call in the baskets when we score because the way you draw it out, I know it's your style and you've always done it, but in a way, it's always hurt us. You can't fucking just go, just say it real quickly. Fred Van Vliet for free. And say it really emphatically, but don't draw it out so fucking long because what you're doing is you are causing our defensive music to come on late in the possession when they get down the court. I want to hear that dun 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 like right away. You are so long with calling the last basket made for the Raptors that they never even start the defensive like music for the team to get the chant from the crowd. Because you're fucking calling the last basket so long with drawing out the syllables. Just call the basket and shut up and let them get down the court so the crowd can start yelling defense fast. Transition is so quick in the NBA at this point that Herbie's call of our basket score is hurting us in transition defense. This is a very interesting theory. Some people may think you're crazy, Lex. How does the PA announcer fuck it up? Well, he has a rhythm to the game, and because he's so fucking slow with calling our baskets, it's hurting our transition defense. I'm serious. I'm serious in-game ops and Herbie and Raptors. If you come and watch me today and you hear me talk about this, you may want to think about this possibly being part of the reason why our transition defense can be bad in at home. Seriously, I want to hear that defensive like music that they play for in-game ops to get the crowd chanting defense right away as soon as they get the ball. I love Herbie doing the score call, but he's doing it way too fucking long and he's eating into it. And obviously, sometimes he does the call and the other team's already scored a basket before he's even finished fucking doing the call for the basket we scored. So Herbie, shorten your breath. Stop drawing it all out. And you know what? Cut the assist part out. You don't even need to do that. Just do the first basket part, the guy who scored it. Do the whole thing. Fred Van Vliet for three and yabba dabba doo. And then shut up and let them get down and start playing the defensive chant music. I really think this may have a factor on it. I mean, I'm grasping at straws maybe, but also I can see this as being a factor because I noticed it in the arena when I'm in the crowd. I'm ready to chant defense to help them when they're on defense again. And meanwhile, Herbie's too much of his like doing his fucking thing. I'm like, dude, shut up and let them start the defensive music so we can start, cheering defense to help them on the defensive end. So that's just a gripe I have. And maybe something the Raptors need to look at. We love you, Herbie. You keep doing the job, but shorten your fucking call, man. You cannot be like 10 seconds of calling the last basket. Just do it in a very excited way, in a shorter way, please. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I'm glad Jeff Dowtin got to play sometime.
But haven't seen Wancho recently. Also wonder how the lineups will work once OG comes back. Guess Nick Nurse will rotate Gary and Precious. I'm going to predict this, Fiercey, for our rotation and our starting lineup when they come back. When everybody's healthy, it should be, like I said before, Fred, Scotty, OG, Pascal, and Jakob starting. Gary and Precious off the bench. And with them off the bench, then we only use like a 9-man rotation of Gary, Precious, Chris, and one of the other guys. It doesn't matter which of the other guys is. It's a wild card. And it's really just for like what we need. And if there may be two, he goes 10 deep, then there's a 9th and a 10th guy. That's really what we need in that moment. It could be Wancho, it could be Delano, it could be Malachi, it could be Koloko, it could be Thaddeus when he's healthy. But really, that main 8 needs to take most of the minutes. Those 5 starters with Precious, Gary, and Chris off the bench. And that will be our primary rotation with, like I said, the other guys are another level of deep in the team. And Thad should be in that further into the bench with OG and Gary back, that his minutes should be eaten up. He should not be playing as much when we're fully healthy. And that's how I look at it. And it's weird that Wancho hasn't been playing lately. This is the thing. Nick Nurse has shown good faith in Wancho earlier this season by playing him heavy minutes and doing a lot of different things with him. At this point in the season, he doesn't totally have to look at him. And in some ways, he doesn't have to play him, but he knows he's there and stashed, and he knows that he can come back in and do some of the stuff he did earlier in the season. So that's part of the reason why Wancho's not playing right now. But it is really weird. People have been commenting about him getting DMPs recently. But it's not a big deal. He's a pro. He's going to be ready. And when we call his number, he'll get out there and do his best, I'm sure. Mike saying the league will bow to them in time. Yes, they will for sure. Laughing my ass off. In some ways that may be true. We just got to give it time. Poeltl is the right step in the direction to getting back to Larry O.B. Edgar's here. Edgar Lozano, good to see you, Edgar. First time commenting, long time fan. I appreciate you, Edgar, watching me, and I'm glad that you finally came in and commented with us, man. Good to see you. What a great win for our team last night. Fred VanVleet setting the table, making sure all our guys ate, and Poeltl out there looking like the second coming of Ibaka. That may be even sullying and slighting him. I think he's better than Ibaka. Listen, Serge is an interesting player, but there's certain things that Poeltl does that Ibaka didn't do very well. I would have to say that, did Ibaka ever do a performance like last night? So it's like, in some ways, it's like Poeltl's better than Ibaka. That's the crazy thing. But I love your comment, Edgar, and I love you coming in and chiming in with us. I hope you'll do it some more, and we'll hear your voice more often. But yeah, it was a really great win, no denying. I love Fred being more of a playmaker in the assists last night, because it honestly does show people that hate Fred that he can do that still. That it is true. He really is just filling what we need on a given night, and that he's not selfish as far as he needs to be doing all the scoring. He will set other people up. G saying they traded a protected first. 1-6 pick goes to the Raptors if they fail that low. 7 and up goes to the Spurs. Yak is a pick 9 anyways. Golden State traded 5 second-round picks for Gary Payton II and 2 second-round picks. It equals a steal. Listen, I think what Masai did and what he got, listen, this is the crazy thing. The deal for Jakob was much worse from us than it was from the Celtics, and they still chose us to deal him to. Seriously, Danilo Gallinari and Peyton Pritchard for Jakob Poeltl was the deal that they were trying to send, and we sent Kem Birch and some draft picks. Are you going to tell me? Because, seriously, Peyton Pritchard is a very useful bench backup guard, and Gallinari's been hurt, but he's still like a valuable player in some ways. They didn't want that deal. They wanted our deal more. I think it is probably because they wanted the picks more. But still, seriously, we got a way better back in some ways. This is just crazy, honestly. Sheer constant. Will Lou almost a parody now. I've stopped wasting my time with that. Saved an hour of my day. I hate that that's happening to him. Seriously, bro, you need to come and watch us for a little bit, Will Lou, and get more in tune with Raptor Freak Nation, because it'll help you with your job. You'll understand what we care about more, and you'll stop stepping in shit like interviewing David Thorpe on your stupid ass show. And just having dumb out of pocket comments like you did last night. Like I said, why do you need to tweet this after such a great game and such good vibes? that the Raptors would have lost this game by 20 if Jakob-stat hadn't played. That's the stupidest, most asinine, useless, not worth tweeting tweet, because you're really signaling that you're a hater. Then when you say something like that, Lion Hunter saying, hilarious seeing the usual hating accounts who trashed Masai for the trade now singing his praises. I know. Oh my gosh. Let's just stick on one side. And we know the people that are here, we know, and we are the real ones. We did not waver. We understood what Masai was doing. These guys can flip-flop and figure it out late and not be ahead of the game and with Masai and trusting him. That's fine. They can go ahead. G saying, okay, without Allen, Cavs lose games 2, and without Steven, Memphis loses 2. What a ridiculous comment. Yeah, missing a key player may result in losing. What a concept. Yeah, I mean, it's that way, Will Lou. You know, if you don't have your big center, Nurkic, you don't have any defense for Portland, and the Raptors absolutely kill them. You know, it's that way. It's just that way. And it's amazing. It's a testament to the Raptors in their years since Mark and Serge left that we've had the amount of winning that we've had in the years since. That we did what we did last year without a true center, making it to the playoffs and playing against Philadelphia. Seriously, just imagine how we could have done if we had the center the whole time. Well, we didn't. It's no woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we do now. And now we can see just how much better we are with the void filled at this point. Yeah, I mean, Memphis has struggled without Steven Adams. You know, Jared Allen is a huge important part of the Cleveland Cavaliers winning. Without him out there and just Evan Mobley, they don't win. So this is so true, G. And people need to understand this. You know, that's why we really are so happy to have him here. Calapoon saying Sportsnet's guys get paid to be anxious and negative all the time with the Raptors and Jays too. Yeah, it really is. Like, I blame the Leafs, man. I really do blame the Leafs because of the way that they've gone up and down and the way that they give hope and then they don't do well. People are cynical. They're jaded. They come at it with really weird takes, and they're applying the same kind of style of sports journalism to the Raptors. It just doesn't apply, y'all. We're a very positive fan base. We have nothing to do with the jaded cynicism of the Leafs nation. And if you do a template of how you cover the Leafs and you just put it in for the Raptors and you're doing shit like that on Sportsnet and TSN, fuck you, because it's a totally different animal, the Raptors and the Leafs. And you need to stop treating the way you do journalism on the Raptors the same way that you do the Leafs, because we don't eat that up. Leafs fans may enjoy the cynicism, the pessimism, the kind of like, yeah, the Leafs will crumble again in the first round, that kind of bullshit that y'all like to push with that. Well, we don't. We really don't. We are all about where our leader, Masai Ujiri's vision of more Larry O'Brien's. And y'all aren't helping with all your stupid ass noise and pessimism and cynicism that you reserve for teams like the Blue Jays and the Leafs. I don't know if you guys realize this, but the way you feed us in the media like this feeds the reality of those teams. The Jays and the Leafs are mid all the time, partly because of the way you cover them and the way that the fans perceive them. That we are above all that shit. I don't give a fuck. You're not hijacking our fan nation like you do those other ones and turning us into a dumpster fire of dysfunction and confusion like you have tried to recently. Fuck that. We ain't doing that. And everything that's like that, keep away from us. Thank you, Calapoon, for pointing this out. And it's very true. They're paid to be anxious and negative and get us riled up, because that's what works for Leaf Nation. It don't work for us, though. Mike saying, wasn't Will Lou saying the trade deadline was a fail? Poeltl filled a big hole and allows the other players to be even better at the things they do. It's about the team, not individuals. Fit matters. I know that is a huge fail. Like, seriously, how can you have any credibility at this point, Will Lou? That you couldn't understand that this is a slam dunk. This man coming back to Toronto is not a slam dunk. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? You've sold out. I really think that that's what it is. You've gone corporate the last 2 years with Sportsnet, and you've sold out. You are exactly what Calapoon's saying. You're a part of their machine to put out negativity, anxiousness, and confusion. And I'm really disappointed in you, because I've seen your journey, and what you did at Raptors Republic was so commendable and admirable and entertaining. And now you're just pissing me off, bro. Really, can you figure this out and get right with us? You need to get right with Raptors Freak Nation, because you're not right now, Will Lou, and I'm very disappointed in you. Why would you not know that Jakob-stat is a slam dunk and we're going to kick some ass? Why would you say our trade deadline was a failure? You have no credibility because you obviously don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That is all that has been said from this at this point. You know, seriously, you didn't believe in this, and you're going to say all of a sudden, oh, they're great now. So that you're still beating them down with stupid shit. It was not a fail, and you were wrong. And you'd be a bigger man to admit it and come out and say, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. But we still won't respect you because that is such a big fucking miscalculation, bro. That's like an easy free throw or a layup that you just botched. It's like a bunny, bro. You just did a Bismack bunny miss, is basically what you did on the trade deadline, Will Lou, with your take. You were a Bismack bunny miss. That easy. You could have just dunked the ball and said, this is a great move. But no, you decided to go the other way, and now you look stupid. Yeah, Cool Cat saying, folks need to apologize to Masai and Bobby for negativity outbursts on social media. Can't wait to see OG starting in the synergy of Gary, Precious, Boucher on the bench, Koloko, Malachi, Banton, all of that. Cool Cat, I love it. And you're right. Apologize to Masai, y'all. Apologize to Masai Ujiri for not believing in him and Bobby Webster's moves. You need to apologize. Yes, you do. Jason Smith is here, and he has one word to say, and it's yak. You love that block up, Jason Smith. Do you like that little bit of what he does? Like how much he was blocking shots last night? He was so fun to watch him block shots on different people. I loved all this shot blocking going on. We were seeing people blocking Franz. I think Scotty blocked Franz at one point. Bobo got blocked by Boucher. You know, Blocka was in effect, blocking everybody every which way down low. Precious blocked Paulo Banchero at one point. There was so much good blocks last night. Those shot blocks last night, Paul B, we may need to highlight just from this Orlando game of blocks. Crazy good blocks. Blackhawks saying 15 assists is exactly what the fan base wants to see from Fred. The 10 points is the bonus. We need to see more of this after All-Stars. There you go. Fred serves the order, y'all. That's the thing that people don't realize. He's serving the order. Like whatever we want. We need him to score 30 because we need the 30. He'll do it. We need him to get 15 assists. He'll do it. We need him to sit on the bench because Jeff Dowtin and Malachi are playing fine in the beginning of the fourth and we can wait a little bit and bring him in later. He's fine with that. He'll do it. He's not selfish. He does not give a shit about anything but winning. And that is shown once again last night in the way he played. Sue saying, good morning, everyone. Great game. Jakob is so helpful at the rim, but also lets everyone play their own positions and concentrate on their strengths. She loves it. You go, Sue. Play it again, Sue. Check out Sue's music reaction channel on YouTube. Play it again, Sue and friends. Always good stuff with her and Chelsea on there. Always enjoying Sue's content on her YouTube channel. Yeah, I agree, Sue. He's just helpful to everyone. And we're just like, that's the intangibles that all add up. Is like, it's not just him and what he's going to add. He's going to make Scotty better. He's going to make Precious better. He's going to make Pascal better. He's going to make Fred better. He's going to make the whole damn team better. So in some ways, it's not just him that adds to why we're going to rise up and be so much more dominant. He just makes everybody better. And it's a way that he's not a superstar. It's on a down low way as a defensive and kind of just like a big guy. You know, it's not like Michael Jordan made everybody better. But it is similar in a way that Kobe and Michael made players around them better. LeBron James supposedly makes people around him better. But that's the thing. Jakob is that kind of guy. He'll make every single other player's value go up and play better. Forgetful saying, I said yesterday that I can't stomach Will Lou. Why? Because it's been a stream of snark since he decided the Raps were going nowhere this year. That's what I'm saying, Will. You know, we don't like that we're losing. We don't want somebody to come and make fun of the, you know, I always say it this way. Let's look at the Raptors as being, if they were a person, the whole organization were just some dude. And let's say that they're a relative of ours. Like, I love the Raptors like they are my brother or sister or mother or father. And I would get really pissed if you talk shit about my brother, my sister, my mother, or my father. And I think this is the problem you're not seeing, Will Lou. That when you're snarky, any of you guys, Michael Grange, Doug Smith, Eric Kareen, Aaron Rose, if any of you guys are snarky about the Raptors losing, just substitute the Raptors for like, that's my dad or that's my mother you're talking about. And because you're insulting like a family member to us. And so if your market and your audience is supposed to be Raptor fans, well, you're turning them off. You're making them feel like you're an asshole. When you're snarky and you know you're down and you're kicking them while you're down just to be a comedian and try and be witty and funny, well, that is what brings your ratings down. I'm going to tell you that right now. You turn people off. And the more that Will Lou realizes that people like me treat the Raptors like a family member, and that when you talk about them, I really do feel like you're talking about my little brother, Carl, that I love. is how I feel about this. So you go ahead and talk shit about my family and understand why I hate you. And that really is what it is. It's like broadcasters, journalists, you understand with your content, if you're talking about the Raptors, you're talking about our family. And when you treat it in a way that's insensitive or snarky or putting them down, you're basically talking shit about our family. And that's why we get pissed off at you. And that's why we turn on you, Will Lou. So, yeah, the snarkiness is not necessary. You're going to lose following within the Raptors nation because of it, Will Lou. You're going downhill like a burning flame, a pile of a burning plane. You're crashing, bro. If you're not careful, you need to watch out because we are not liking what you're doing right now. The real ones know what you're doing, and it's full of shit. And there's no reason for you to be snarky and kick a team while they're down. It's not helpful, and you think you're funny, but you're really just kind of turning people off. You don't even realize that. Lion Hunter saying Blackhawk Fred scores as needed. Some games you need your point guard to give you your 20 and 30. Other times facilitate. Just depends. Yep, exactly. Lion Hunter's got it right. Fred fills the need. He's like the Burger King. You say, have it your way. You want your Whopper? What do you want on it? You want onions? You want tomato? Well, Fred comes to the game. He says, Nick, what do we need tonight? Well, Fred, tonight, I think because of the matchup, we're going to need you to be the playmaker. Okay, I'll do it. It's as easy as that. It's not like, fuck you, Nick. I'm an asshole. I'm going to fucking shoot everything that comes to me all whole night. I'm going to just ball hog and I'm going to fucking make everybody hate me more. That's not what he's doing, bro. He shows up the game. He gets a game plan from the coach. He takes the coach's instruction. He does what the coach tells him to. So every time Fred's doing stuff on the coach, it's because Nick told him to. It's not because he's taking it on his own or doing this. In fact, Fred has said many times, it's like, listen, I will take less minutes. I'll believe it when I see it. But he just really relies on me very heavily. I'll take less shots. I'll believe it when I see it. But it's really because Nick has called his number and said, we need you, Fred. We're injured at the beginning of the season. We have nobody capably stepping up to carry water, to carry us to wins. And we need you to step up and try and be who you were last year, even though we didn't want you to be who you were last year. So he's a saint, honestly. And all the arguments against Fred is the opposite. This man is very much a team first player, and he's a saint compared to actually how you guys characterize him. Race Mode saying, my cable was out yesterday. Did we win? And he's smiling. I know he's being funny. You know, Edmund, go watch the game. Seriously, once again, this is one, if you missed it, you need to go and catch up and watch it because you'll just have very smiley time. Very fun game. Lots of blocks, lots of fun, lots of Jakob. Calhoun saying, dumb fake fans don't notice that a lot of championships in salary cap leagues go to teams with a mix of established high-paid stars and younger emerging stars on lower first or second contracts. Yeah. We have room to grow and progress. And like I said, they're going to spend money to keep this band together. This summer, all the worry about keeping everybody together, they're going to be very pleasantly surprised about how Masai manages this summer. That you guys are going to be shocked at just how much we retain everything and add to it even. So we're going to add on the edges in really weird ways. And I'm so like feeling good about next year. In some ways, I feel good about the playoffs coming up. And that I think we could actually do something this year. Forget about next year. In some ways, the element of surprise is really on our side because he's so new. Nobody's really scouted us yet. And we can really get more out of him now while people aren't used to him being on our team again. And that we may need to strike now, just like the Spanish Inquisition. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Well, nobody expected the Raptors to get Jakob and be buyers at the trade deadline. And we need to use that element of surprise for the rest of the season. Because they're not going to have adjusted to the new look Raptors and just how powerful we are. And we should be able to run roughshod over a lot of teams going out the rest of the season because they haven't had a look at us or scouted us correctly yet or played us with him in the lineup. So I'm excited. Wayne saying no one in the East wants to meet us early in the playoffs. Playing efficiently and high IQ combined with sustained energy is guaranteed wins. Yeah, we have a winning formula for how we're going to win games now with the big man. We just have a lot of good things going for us. And we had them all along. It's just this was the last piece. There really is the one final piece that we really needed to make everything finally function. In fact, for how dysfunctional our team has looked this season and how much it's struggled, how much it's looked bad, it really is amazing how much it looks good now with just Jakob being added. And that a lot of the dysfunction of our team is gone just because he's on our team now. The all whole lot of problems just got wiped away, and it's really, really good. Monique is saying 3 years, 3 stars. Her 3 stars are Jakob, Precious, and more Jakob. But seriously, us fans, we're so lucky to have him back. My 3 stars were Jakob, Pascal, and Precious, with a very honorable mention to Fred and Scotty also, because they did very well too. Chris was great off the bench too, 6 of 8, two offensive rebounds, 4 rebounds altogether, and a block, 13 points. Delano came in for 4 minutes, got 1 basket, but he was really effective and fun out there on the court. I thought he didn't look bad at all. Like I said, everybody did something good. Malachi getting 3 of 4 and 10 points was fantastic. In fact, Malachi really impressed me because he hit some big gutsy shots that were really important in the second half, and he was very ballsy. And I love that. He's continued to shoot even though he's had struggles, and he shouldn't be confident, but he is relentlessly confident, even if he's not doing well. In some ways, I really think we can depend on Malachi, but not totally. I don't know. It's weird. He had a good game last night. I will give him that for sure. Let's see. They're saying that Fred's assists are selfish. Oh my gosh. He can do every kind of different game, and they will point something wrong with it. Sue's saying, I hope we keep playing like we did last night and show the haters that we did the right thing by being buyers. It is funny because people weren't complaining the Lakers were buyers, and they're in 13th. Yeah, I know. It's like, it's so silly. It's so crazy. Like I said, they're going to find something to complain about no matter what. David Saborin has got the drink out, and he's saying, let's get it. I'm with you, David. Let's get it. We're going to go get more wins. Cool Cat saying, we fought so hard without a center for so long, and now that we have muscle memory to fight tough, Jakob, Pascal, OG, Scotty, Precious, Boucher are defensive anchors. Sneaky upset coming. I love it. I love it. This is true. In some ways, all the hard work without the center, we're still kind of that team. We're still the Raptor team to seize the ball that we always were. It's just that we have the relief. He really is like a relief and like a breath of fresh air and like a chance to rest, a chance for guys to kind of like, okay, I don't have as much stress on my shoulders from how much I have to take physically on the court. And OG, in some ways, that'll be really good for them. Sue saying at G, really? I can't believe it. Fred VanVleet just can't do anything right in the eyes of some. It's so ridiculous. They just blanketly hate him. They just blindly hate him. It has nothing to do with anything he's doing. It may be that they don't like his hair. They may think that he looks annoying. It may be that they remind him of a bully from when they were younger. It could be all kinds of crazy shit that has them already dispositioned against him. It may have nothing to do with basketball. I have no idea. I still think that there is a narrative that this could be explored, that there are other people paying people to come in here and do this in our fan nation, like a rich Celtics fan who's paying Robert Pensair to make up bullshit propaganda to go after Fred and get him off our team by influencing our fan nation from the inside. I think that could be very well true. I don't trust that dude. I don't at all. I don't think he's a Raptor fan. I've watched some of his old content. I saw more of his shit yesterday because of Greg's clip, which kind of pissed me off. And yeah, he's full of shit. In fact, in the clips that you saw Greg using there, I was like, how the fuck does anybody believe this guy? Seriously, how does anybody believe this guy? Where does he get credibility? Like, what is his background in basketball? Seriously, what is his background? He has a fancy microphone and he named his channel Pensair Basketball. What is his basketball background? Seriously, I don't know what he doesn't look like. He played ball. He doesn't look like he could fucking shoot a ball or do anything out on the court. I don't know how tall he is. I don't know if he's ever coached any teams. I don't know. What is it? He just watched basketball? I don't know where he gets his expertise. I just don't get it. Seymour saying, so you're saying we have a chance. I love that you bring that up every once in a while. You said that a couple times this season, and I'll be like, yeah, well, Seymour, I don't know if we have a chance, but I'm going to say right now we do. Oh, yeah, we do, Seymour Pape. Seymour saying, Spurs keep giving us players that put us over the top. Thank you, San Antonio. There is a very good symbiotic relationship between the Raptors and the Spurs. I think it's partly because we share a fan nation. Like a lot of Spurs fans are also Raptor fans and vice versa. There's also a lot of stuff as far as like we are similarly built teams in some ways. We very much taken them as a template to build your franchise like the Spurs, and that a lot of their values and ways that they are similar to us. So there is very much a mutual respect between Popovich and Nurse, and also between our front offices. And thank God that they're a franchise in this league that we can work out deals with very easily, it seems, because there's a lot of teams we cannot deal with very easily. And it's good that we do have a couple teams in the league that seem to be able to do deals with us. And it's true. We've had a very, very, very good trades with the San Antonio Spurs in recent years. I mean, the Kawhi trade, obviously, and this one's going to be pretty monumental too, also. And it could very much mean championships also. In fact, Spurs Nation kind of knows this already because they know Poeltl very well. That when they made the deal, that you know what they said? They're like, okay, now we're giving another championship to Toronto once again. It's kind of what some of the Spurs fans are saying right now because they really understand the impact he can have and how much he can add up to winning. So Spurs fans actually believe the Raptors are a championship contender with Jakob around. And we should listen to them because they really know the young Austrian better than the rest of the NBA. Not we know better than the rest of the NBA, but in some ways they know Jakob better recently than we do. And if they think we could be a championship contender with him added to our team, well, we should listen to them. Mike's saying, not gonna lie, I did say yesterday, if we win the boards, we win the game. Big facts, Sue. Yeah, we did. We won the boards. We won some very important battles yesterday, and I'm so happy about it. Tom Duke is saying 20 more points than them in the paint. Huge amount of points in the paint, 70 something, is kind of the flip on the other game against Utah last week, where they absolutely dominated us in the paint, the Jazz. Well, we were the team dominating the paint last night. Board man gets paid. That's right, Tom. And Sue is saying, yes, they were beasts in the paint. Blackhawks saying, we shouldn't say bench mob anymore. They're the starter mob. Just like we shouldn't say undrafted free Fred VanVleet. We should say champion Fred VanVleet. I like that. I like both of what you're saying there. Okay, it jumped. I'm going to say change is transformational. Yeah, change the title. It changes something when you graduate from medical school and you get that doctor in front of your name. You're now Dr. Nick Nurse, you know? So, yeah, I agree with what Blackhawk's saying here. They're the starter mob. They have graduated to starter mob. Just like my starter jacket, my San Antonio Spurs starter jacket. They're a starter mob. And undrafted free agent, undrafted Fred VanVleet. Okay, NBA champion Fred VanVleet, All-Star Fred VanVleet. Those are better for that, and that's a W comment for sure. Blackhawk, we love it. We everybody's giving you that. They're all giving you big up props for what you're saying there. G saying props to Nurse for good rotations and playing the bench more. Yes, yeah, I really love the gamble on Jeff. Jeff Dowtin Jr. getting put in for a situational positional need to stop something in the game, and then him doing it is really good faith that Nick will do situational substitutions to fulfill a problem that's in the game. Fultz and Suggs running that ball right at us down our throats into the lane. Well, get Jeffrey out there and he can hound them. And it was a really, really smart move by Nick, and it showed flexibility. And yeah, okay, I will bust out Jeff Dowtin and put him on the court. We've been calling out for it all season. He finally did it, and it paid off. Savage is here. Let's see what Savage is saying. He can be borderline. Let's see what he's saying. Suggs played like the Raptors traded him midseason. He looked the most hurt off that loss, reminding me of Dragic. Savage is being a troll towards Jalen Suggs. Yeah, he was very upset at the end of the game when they lost. You could tell. They showed him on the camera, and he was frowning. And, yeah, it's a weird thing, this whole phenomenon with Suggs. Sure, you go ahead and have a chip on your shoulder against the Raptors over and over again. I'd much rather have a 6'4" guard with a chip on my shoulder against us than somebody like Scotty Barnes going against us instead. So we made the right decision. And you go, Savage. I love that you're trolling Jalen Suggs this morning. And I did see you in the Raptors Tonight streams recently, Savage, and you've been a little negative about the Raptors. But hopefully you're seeing the Jakob sunshine light at this point. But we love you, Savage. You're one of our favorite trolls. And thank you for trolling Jalen Suggs today. Monique is saying Pascal getting the All-Star ball before the game was a beautiful sight, laughing at all the haters who counted us out. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that Bobby Webster came out giving the ball, and he got a little bit of a shine for making the All-Star again. Much deserved, Pascal. You should have been on there in the first place. It's a travesty that you weren't put on the initial team, that you really did deserve that. Denal saying the headband was talking to him, though, Lex. Headband. Yeah, man. You're talking about Brooke Lopez. Yeah, that was stupid. The headband was talking to him. It's hilarious. That's why he's going to be on the defensive team or be defensive player of the year, because he attacked Gary Trent Jr. because his headband was talking to him. Mike saying the bench mob starters were Lowry, DeRozan, OG, Ibaka, and JV. Then off the bench, it was Fred, Powell, Miles, Jakob, Spicy, and that team got the first seed in the East, but the starters' defense wasn't good enough. Yeah. Well, we had deficiency with DeMar DeRozan at defense. It was really tough. But yeah, that was our team at that time. That's right. It wasn't Patterson. It was Ibaka and JV up front. That's a hell of a team. You read that back. Lowry, DeRozan, OG, Ibaka, and JV starting with Fred, Norman Powell, CJ Miles. Yeah. And DeLon Wright. You could put him in there. That was, and that was tough. That was a year when we got put out by LeBron. Yeah, it sucked. Monique's saying 7 years ago, yesterday was the All-Star game here in Toronto. Nothing will ever compare. The one thing I will say about the All-Star weekend here in Toronto is we may have had one of the best dunk competitions ever in the history of the dunk competition. I'm still partial to either Vince's dunk competition or the great epic battles between people like Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins and Spud Webb from the 80s. But of recent dunk competitions, the dunk competition that happened here in Toronto at our All-Star weekend was one of the better ones. And definitely in the last 20 years since Carter's dunk competition. Yeah, that Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine stuff was fantastic and phenomenal. I remember I was actually not in Toronto for that All-Star weekend. It was super, super cold. And it sucked because we had everybody come into the city and it was like, this is Toronto. And meanwhile, it's like minus 20 and it's like a blizzard. And the weather sucks so bad that All-Star weekend in Toronto. And I was feeling pretty good because I was in an airport in Atlanta. And I was on my way to Florida. So I wasn't even in Toronto when the All-Star weekend that time. I was actually down there visiting at that time. But I remember it was super, super cold. And everybody kept talking about, oh my gosh, Canada is so cold. It was like the worst year for us to have the All-Star weekend here because it was actually like super cold that weekend. And it sucked. Oh my gosh. And it just purported more of Canada's too cold kind of bullshit, because the weather was really bad that All-Star weekend. All right, let's see. Greg is here. Good to see you, Gubstown Clink. Did you attend it, Raptors freak? Raptors fan, Monique, the greatest. I wanted to, but I had a wedding for work. I was so bummed. She went to the game last night. Yeah, she was at the game last night. Tom Duke saying, at Greg, great video in the comments in it. I like your one from last week, the one I made the comment on, Greg. I watched your stuff yesterday. I really like how you made a list of everybody's gripes about the trade deadline, and you went through each one of them and said that you gave them reasons to kind of chill out and calm down. That was such a great piece, Greg. That may have been one of your best pieces you've ever done. And I really, really enjoyed it. And it is such a good, helpful piece. But the Robert piece, oh my God, man, you're too nice to him. I know that you guys are cool and you're buddies, but fuck him. Seriously, bro. And I wouldn't promote him any further than you do. I feel like you're putting him too on blast. And you're letting him off the hook too. I know you kind of came at him on that thing and stuff, but in some ways you don't make him look bad. You're kind of still talking him up and making him look good. I have a problem with that, honestly. I do like that you had the clip on there of him saying that we should pick Suggs instead of Barnes. And seeing all the Skip and the King clips on there is hilarious. Those motherfuckers. I love Brian. He's okay with me, but I fucking hate Skip. And that crew is so weird. Like, they are such weird guys. I have not talked to Brian in a while. I probably should connect with him and just check on him and see how he's doing. King's cool in my book, but fuck the King. Fuck Skip. Fuck Skip and fuck Robert. They're fucking bum-ass motherfuckers. Skip is actually a Celtics fan. You know he is. You go listen to him talk about the Celtics and how he talks to Raptors. He's a Celtics fan. Skip from Skip and the King. He is not in Raptors Nation. He's in Celtics Nation. Let's keep going. Facts, Tom, from Mike. And then we got a baby Goo Goo Gaga with the milk. Jimmy saying, I'm not going to get too excited. I'm saying saving that energy for later. We're in for a surprise. I'm telling you, screw all these naysayers. Let's have some fun, baby. Woo! Playoffs, here we come. In some ways, Jimmy's right. We need to not get ahead of ourselves. We got to take it day by day and not get too giddy because we don't want to be let down and feel disappointed. Let's just take it as it comes. And hopefully it just all continues to be very, very good because, yeah, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We got to earn it little by little and bit by bit. Blackhawks saying draft-wise, we need a shooting guard or point guard, but another center will be good too. Precious doubles as a center, but he is a real good small forward, power forward. Don't want OG or Pascal playing center anymore at any time. Yeah, I think we need to put a couple guys on that list. Those guys and Thaddeus should not be playing center ever again for us right now. If our center depth chart is Jakob-stat, Precious Achua, and Christian Koloko, and that those 3 guys need to be on the court at any given time. One of them needs to be out there because they are our most capable centers. And that is the depth chart for center, Nick. Don't put Thad in that depth chart. Don't put Chris in that depth chart. You took Chris out of the center depth chart a couple of years ago when you said he's not a center. I will not play him at center anymore. You gave up on that. We'll give up on Thad and everybody else. You have 3 centers that are capable. One of them should be on the court at all times. And in really weird moments, maybe you have all 3 of them on the court at the same time. That would be fun. I'd kind of like that. I really would. Monique saying, did attend, Greg, with friends a weekend to never forget. Okay, good stuff. All right. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Greg, come on. Don't have your little secrets in here. Just tell us what you guys are talking about. And don't fucking come in here and try and be secretive and shit, Greg. Just spell it out and talk to us. Monique, whatever you got going on, I appreciate you, and I hope it's really good. Banana Bread Tan saying, Suggs often plays well against the Raptors. I think it's related to us taking Scotty over him for sure. I would trade Fred for him if we were moving on from Fred. That's fucking crazy. No, I would not. I don't care how good of a baller he is or attitude and stuff. Like, Fred has a lot of those qualities too. He may not be as talented offensively as Jalen Suggs, but he has way more other talents that I value more than what Jalen Suggs has. And that's the brain, the computer, the IQ, the skills, the smarts, the experience, the vet savvy that Jalen Suggs just doesn't have. And that's not a good trade-off, bro. It really, really isn't. You're trading a backup scorer shooting guard for a starting bona fide number 1 point guard. And yeah, that's not a good trade. I'm going to tell you that right now. I would not make that trade. If Orlando asked us to trade Jalen Suggs for Fred VanVleet tomorrow, and they would love Fred VanVleet in Orlando. There's all kinds of Magic fans that have Photoshop pictures of Fred wearing that blue Magic jersey. And no, I don't want to fucking do this. I don't want Suggs. I never wanted Suggs. Seriously. He's not the kind of player that we want in some ways. He's the kind of player that we want in attitude-wise and style-wise in some ways, but I don't want that height. I don't want that body frame, and I just don't want him. I'm sorry. I just don't want him. In some ways, they did the interviews with Suggs and Scotty before the draft, and he failed his interview. He did not have the personality or the character to be a Raptor. In some ways, that was what happened. Is they did interviews. Scotty killed it in his interview psychologically and personality wise. And in some ways, Jalen Suggs didn't impress them, is what I remember. I remember hearing during that whole combine before the draft that he came in and he fucked up his interview because he said some shit out of pocket. He may have shown that he's a selfish dude down low, and he didn't have the character to be a Raptor. And that's something that they say, even be on the Raptors team, you have to be a certain kind of person as far as like selfishness and stuff like that. And he failed that in the interview, Jalen Suggs. And that was part of the reason why they were really like, yeah, we need to just take Scotty. And that's kind of how it went down. He failed his interview with the Raptors. I'm not going to lie. He really did. He came in, they talked to him. Maybe he was too casual. Maybe he was a little bit too arrogant. And they were like, yeah, we don't want this fucking asshole on our team. We're taking Scotty. So, yeah, I would never do that trade. I wouldn't in a million years. Fred VanVleet over over Jalen Suggs any day. Never, ever take that deal. That's a bad deal for us. Sue saying, haha, I love the Wrestling Doll Show. You need to feature him more often. Well, I got all these guys. Like, I got the JYD. He can come in here and say, grab them cakes. Oh, is that all you do? I mean, you know, it is a bit of a puppet show here. I mean, a little bit of a puppet show. Right, Justin? Right. How are you doing? How's Sioux Falls? You can leave. All right, let's see. Greg's saying, thanks, Tom. It had the desired effect. If you spout opinions on YouTube that aren't anchored in facts, it may come back to bite you. How would you guys proceed with Rob now if you were me? I don't know. Like I said, Greg, don't put him on blast. In fact, I hate talking about him. I wish he'd just go away. I don't even want to exist in the same Raptors nation as him anymore. You know, it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to do your channel. It's really up to you. If I were you, I wouldn't even validate him by putting his face or anything on your titles or anything that you did. I watched that clip thinking that you were scaring him, but you were too nice. You're way too fucking nice and kind of playing both sides. And I don't like that, Greg. You should stand on one side. If you think he's full of shit, call him out and say he's full of shit like I do. And don't try and kiss his ass at the same time. Because that's really what it looked like to me. You're kissing his ass while you're simultaneously trying to tear him down. That's not effective. Just tear his ass down. You don't need to kiss his ass too. And he can be upset and get in your comments and say, oh, don't put my real name in the thing or this and all that stuff. Whatever. Fuck that. I just say ignore him. You know, whatever. You're going to do whatever you want to do, Greg. It's your channel. It's your life. But I wouldn't make the choices you're making with him. And you may be that you have more of an established friendship with him or time talking to him over the years. And that's fine. But to me, I didn't like that piece. It turned me off from it. And it's not that I lost respect for you. It's just that I was like, why are you doing this, Greg? You didn't need to do that way. In fact, I thought you were doing a hit piece. And when I watched it, it was exactly not that. And it pissed me off. It made me mad, honestly, because in some ways you were building him up and making people more interested to maybe go see him. It may have been the exact opposite effect of what you had wanted to do with that. So that's why I had a problem with it. You do whatever you want, man. But yeah, you could do a piece like that with me. Maybe I'll say something out of pocket and we'll do it like wrestling. We'll act like we're mad at each other and we'll make it really big and cause controversy, but we're actually really friends, like wrestlers, and make it all up and get more attention that way. Do it with me. Don't do it with him unless you are doing it with him from the same reason. That's what it made me think, that you guys are like you're doing an angle together, that you're not actually like against him. You're actually helping to promote him further. And that's the problem I have with it, is what I'm saying. You want to do that kind of shit, do it with me. Maybe I'll say something out of pocket and you'll be like, Raptors freak. And then you can do a correction to me and then we can stir up a whole bunch of shit in Raptors Nation and make it interesting. Now, I just said all this on tape and everybody can come back and see it. Oh, they did do it on purpose. And it's not like Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. Is it an angle or a shoot? Is it a shoot or is it a real? Is it not real? Did they make it up? And that's what I'm saying. I don't know, Greg. You treat that person the way you like to treat them, as far as I'm concerned. To me, I honestly, like I said, I have a swear jar here. We don't want to talk about him. We talked about him a lot just because he's part of the topic du jour this week. But otherwise, I'm ready to go back to just focusing on the Raptors and other things like that and not talking about people like Robert Pensair, because it's much more fun. We have more time to talk about things that are better. Mike's saying the Magic were trying to collapse on the post touches or spicy drives, but laughing my fucking ass off. Collapsing the paint every play doesn't work anymore with Poeltl being the bigger tree and solid touch close. I know. There's a lot of things people have been using against us that is just not going to be able to be used anymore for the rest of the season. I'm so happy about this. There really were huge Achilles heels that the Raptors had as a team that we were getting exploited for, and we were actually getting murdered for, and really, really was making it very hard for us to win. That's what I'm saying. Everything's going to add up to more winning ways and more W's for sure. And I'm all for it. Shir Khan saying, with so many ball handlers moving the rock so nicely on offense, is there really a need for a backup point guard off the bench moving forward, or Flynn good enough as a combo because he can still drill the threes? Yeah, he's not even a point guard. Malachi Flynn's a shooting guard. He's a backup guard. He doesn't play enough like a point guard. Now, he is trained to be a point guard, and he could play more like that, but he's never naturally played like that. He just doesn't gravitate to being a passer and setting people up. I wish he did, because he'd be more valuable, but they don't do that with him. He really is just a shooting guard. And in some ways, he doesn't fill the backup point guard position because of that. And I think you're right. This is something we've been saying recently, is that we don't necessarily need a backup point guard. Like we have Scotty, we have Poeltl, we have Pascal, we have OG. We have so many different guys who can play make other than a point guard that we can cover up that particular role very well. Good comment, Shir Khan. I agree with you. It's too bad that Flynn isn't more of a backup point guard. He really is just a shooter. It's just what it is. Kareem saying Scotty Barnes at the 2 guard just might be a cheat code. It is in some ways. And I really love how he's still getting in the paint and like still bullying them, even though he's actually the 2. And they kept looking for people to really bully last night. Like it was one person, Gary Harris. Whoever Gary Harris was guarding, they were going to them, whether it was Scotty, Pascal, or Jakob. Whoever ended up with Gary Harris on them, they were beating him over the head with a mismatch and absolutely killing Gary Harris. And that was awesome. That's what it is. They can pick one guy on the other team that's kind of a slouch or not their best defensive player, and whoever ends up guarding him, just throw it to him, and they will beat them every time. That's actually a really good philosophy the Raptors should have. Gary Harris was the guy last night. He's like not very good. He's a very good 3-point shooter, but he's not very good on defense, and he's smaller in size. we could bully him, and we did very effectively last night. It was very much whoever Gary's guarding, let's go to them and let them score on him. There was a lot of that, and it was fun. I liked it. Yeah. And that really is a byproduct of Scotty being at the 2 at shooting guard, because he's the one who was technically matching up with Gary Harris. Well, they don't want to put him on Scotty because that's very much a strength mismatch and maybe even a speed mismatch. So they have to switch it around, and Gary ends up getting hidden on guys like either Pascal or Jakob. That's horrible for them too. They're fucked. Or Precious. He's trying to guard Precious. Good luck with that. He can't guard any of them. In fact, they'd have to put him on Fred, but then they got Fultz down there trying to guard Jakob-Poeltl. And we saw that a couple times. We saw Fultz on Jakob's back, and he's like shooting little hooks over him. So it was just a mismatch nightmare having Scotty Barnes as one of our guards, because Gary Harris could be like eaten up like food easily every time down the court. Shane Waters is saying, we stay healthy, keyword healthy. There's no way we don't make the Eastern Conference Finals. A true big was all this team needed. I'm going to be on the edge of the bandwagon, making sure them haters ain't allowed on. Well, let them back on, Shane. And there's no way of really telling. It's just, let's just like remind them, stay true to your team. Stop being flaky and stop fucking not trusting Masai. I'm so for that. No, let them back on. We need their numbers. We need their numbers, and we need their energy, even if they're flaky and they're not real ones like us. MSJ saying, I so badly want to see Fred go after 10 assists. Wasn't sure he could, so props to him. He's gone from getting 3 to 15. I am humbled by that, and he proved me to have overreacted a bit. This is great. I love this quality you're showing, MSJ, that you can admit, like, you're like, you know what, I may have thought this about Fred, but now I'm seeing the light a little bit, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. You know, that is a powerful thing when somebody can like come back and say, circle back and say, you know what, maybe I was hasty or wrong in my initial judgment, and now I can amend that. That is such a powerful, good characteristic in a person, to be able to admit when they're wrong, or, you know, see the difference and not just stand by what they said initially and try and fight it, even though they know they're wrong deep down inside. You know, props to you, MSJ. And I wanted to see him break the Raptors record last night for most assists in a game. Fred, you needed 5 more assists, and you had a lot of time to do it. You didn't play a good chunk of the fourth quarter because those guys did so well in the beginning of it, but I really wanted you to look for trying to get more assists. And the fact that you didn't get more than 15, I was a little disappointed, because a lot of those 15 happened in the first half, and you had a whole second half to get a whole bunch more assists, and you didn't. But it is what it is. And then maybe in some ways you're showing you're not selfish because you didn't try to force the game to get your record, is what I'll say. Yeah. So I really love people like MSJ and what they said just there. Seriously, I'm the same way. I'm fucking wrong. I'll come back and say, look, maybe I was wrong in the way I saw this. It's very important for everybody to be able to admit when they're wrong, or just to be okay with amending their opinion when facts change as time goes on. Because I'm not even saying that he was wrong, because in some ways his argument about Fred is valid, and it's just good that he showed in good faith that he can switch to being that assist guy instead of the shooter. Mike's saying the league adjusted to Flynn's three-point shooting. He is getting sped up at the moment. He's trying to adjust to shooting faster. I don't know. If three-point shooting is tough to complete as a main skill, hence the value it costs. Yeah, we've invested so much time in him, and we've seen some rewards from him, and we might as well, if we've already doubled down on him and kept him around for so long, continue to ride him and see if we can get more good shots out of him. Because, you know, it was really good and timely, some of the offense he provided in the game yesterday. Calpoon saying, as Shere Khan, to be honest, I think Flynn's spot in the rotation for now, at least, is really about insurance in case of Fred's injury. I think that's really true, Calpoon, that we've seen if Fred's out, then we use him. But in some ways, he's valuable just as another defensive small guard. But in some ways, I would like to see him not play in some games coming up. Then when OG and Gary come back, I really want Fred to be the only short guy we play with all these really tall, really good players, because I think that that's a very formidable lineup, and that he should be like Jeff and Delano, and kind of just like, okay, we need this kind of guard off the bench for a specific reason, and not like just regularly always playing. I don't agree with that, Eric Flynn. I'm sorry. I do not. I think that he should not be getting regular minutes. He should be used in situations. Mike's saying, logically, I'm in my mind hearing that transition defense is bad at home. Not gonna lie, I don't think it's the music rhythm. In my opinion, it's the guys can't hear as well when they are calling out for guys to get on certain guys. I think that in some ways you let your guard down when you make a basket, and the other teams really are speeding it up, the transition of getting down the court and really attacking the basket as quickly as possible. But I mean, I have this theory because in some ways, as a fan, I really want to start chanting defense as soon as the other team has the ball at any point. And I find that there's so much of a delivery in Herbie after the basket that it's like they wait, and then all of a sudden the Oregon players finally playing the defensive chant. Well, they're just about to put the shot up, and we can't get in a rhythm to help them with the defensive chant because Herbie's so long with his score announcement. I'm serious. This is something like I don't know how many games you go to, Mike. It's something you can't really get from watching the game on TV. You have to be in the arena to understand the effect of how this can affect transition defense. And I'm serious. This is something that Masai and the organization may want to look into with the in-game ops to game it easier for us. Herbie, just say it quick. You do not need to go, Pascal for three. Boom. Markelle Fultz is already down and made a layup. I'm serious. Seriously, bro. You're calling out the last score, and the Orlando Magic is scoring a basket before you've even finished calling Pascal's score the other end. I have a problem with it. I love Herbie. He's a mainstay and an important part of our organization. But, dude, change your delivery and shorten it up because the transition is sped up now, and your long-ass call is slowing us down. Trust me. Because the fans ain't getting in the defensive chant until they've already had like 10 seconds of the shot clock. So we need the defensive chant from the fans, and it needs to be loud and out there. And now Rolls Royce, car wash, that's not a defensive chant thing. That's just some music you're playing when the team should be locking in on defense, and the fans should be going defense. Defense. You can't do that to Rolls Royce, and you can't do that to Strokin. Billy Squire. I'm sorry. You play that Billy Squire part. Strokin. You can't chant defense over these things. The We Will Rock You can't chant over that either. That's we will rock. We want the chant that will go defense. Because when all the crowd is doing defense, it really does make it harder for the other team to score in our building. And we do increase the energy of our players on defense by giving them energy from our voices. It's a very real phenomenon. And if you want to delay starting the defensive chant because Herbie's singing a song of how somebody just scored, well, that's going to cause problems in the transition defense. I may be crazy in saying this, but seriously, this is the out-of-the-box kind of thinking that I do to try and help the Raptors in any kind of way. So look into this, Raptors organization, and think about what I'm saying about this. And this may be something that may be able to change and get some good results. So yeah, I don't know, Mike. You got to go to the game and see what I'm talking about because you'll see what I'm talking about if you go. Let's see. Monique saying the full hustle play interview with R.Hines is officially out. Okay, it's come out while we've been on the air. That's fantastic. I got something to watch this afternoon. G saying Jakob throwing hurts across the floor. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it because it finally established them as tough and getting them out of the way they are soft sentiment. Yeah, him being physical, him pushing that guy to the ground, no problem with it. I have no problem with the physicality that Jakob's brought and what he's adding. Jason Williams is saying when Fred passes, we win. It's not blind hate. It's selfishness. It's not that deep. It is blind hate, bro. It is. Seriously, Jason, listen. That man came into this league without getting drafted. He had a draft party. They didn't call his name. Did he give up then when they didn't call his name? No. He came to the Raptors, and he made it through the G League, the 905. He carved out his career to become a starter. And not only that, he became an all-star. He became a champion. He's got all these accolades on his resume as a Raptor. Why do we disrespect him so much? Seriously, why? This guy's a winner. This guy's done so many good things for our team. And none of it is in selfishness. Everybody who paints that word on Fred is wrong. I'm sorry. This is just a fucking non-argumentative thing with me because I'm sick of it. This is a whole thing that's been spawned by he who shall not name, that asshole that I want Greg to stop putting on blast. He fucking started this Fred hate that he's selfish 3 years ago, and y'all are just carrying his bullshit line at this point. It is blind hate. Seriously. I don't understand how you could hate this man. He helped us win a championship. He's been only a good, bright hero on our team. And I don't understand why people think he's such an arrogant asshole. He really, really isn't. I've met him personally. I've talked to him in my face, and he's nothing but class act and nice guy. So I just don't get this painting, this maligning of his character that isn't even real or true. You know, Fred doesn't have to pass and we can win. We can win with him shooting or passing. That's just the damn truth. And you know, I'm telling you, Jason, I'm not going to put up with this blind Fred hate. He's not a selfish person. And you don't listen to Panser. Don't follow his ass, because he definitely has a blind hate for him. And the more you like him, you'll find out. It's like that. GMA 84, good to see you. It's been a little bit. Always good to see your name in here. Mike saying if the coach tells him to do certain things, he does them. If that's selfish, clearly I don't understand the definition that's being used. Not gonna lie, it's ridiculous to think Fred is a hijacker of the game plan. He's the captain. He's the quarterback. You're gonna tell John Elway that you're selfish and you're like not doing this? He's basically our quarterback. He's in charge, and he should be. He's the smartest guy to do it. He's the most capable, and he has the best track record. The problem with Fred, and the reason why people hate him so much, is he's the guy who has the balls to put shit out there and fail. He does not always succeed. He has failure, and that's why people hate him, because they see him fail on the court, and they feel his failure in themselves because they're Raptor fans. Stop that. He is going to fail sometimes. At least he has the guts to try in that moment to either succeed or fail. And more often than not, he's successful. I really don't get it, Mike. I really don't. You're exactly right. He does what the coach asks him to do. He's playing within the team concept. You can ask any of the players. If Fred is out of pocket and acting wrong, they will all say he's fine. And even Scotty. People think Scotty hates Fred. No, he loves Fred. He loves what Fred's doing. He respects him, and he really enjoys playing with him. And there's so much mischaracterization of Fred's role on this team and how his players and the other players on the team feel and respect him. You do not understand. Chris Boucher said he's the only one that can cuss him on the team, and he won't get mad because he knows it's from a good place, and that he is a guy that he trusts as a leader, that if he comes at him and he cusses him out, he knows it's for a good reason, and he trusts him for that. People don't do that and give people a license to dog them out if they don't trust them. And that is exactly what Chris Boucher said on a Hustle Play podcast recently. That the only player on that team, he's not saying Pascal, he's not saying Scotty, he's saying the only guy that is allowed to dog me out and I won't get upset with him is Fred, because he trusts him that much. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Stillman 65. I love the new name. Is that a reference? Is that your last name, or is that? I'm trying to figure out. Either way, hey Raptor freaks, first time poster. Love having Poeltl back on our team, and it looks so good to have a big with huge talent up front. I love it. Such a positive comment with a big smiley face at the end. You go, Stillman 65. I hope you'll join us more often and comment more often too. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. The more and more we see Poeltl play, it's just going to be enjoyable to watch. The games have been so fun since he showed back up, and I really do look forward to seeing the fun and seeing what these guys are going to do next. Monique saying NBA TV Canada is now promoting the CEBL with a great commercial. It's great to see. That's cool. I like that. More Canadian basketball on blast is always good. You know, recently I've heard that with this new TV contract for the NBA, the NBC is trying to get back and get the NBA back on NBC. And that would mean that's right. That John Tesh theme song of the NBA on NBC could be coming back. In fact, I would really like it if NBC won the contract back. I hate NBC because of what they did to Conan O'Brien, but they do the NBA right. And in the history of the NBA, that the NBA on NBC was always the best place. I've not liked the NBA on ABC and ESPN. I thought that they have not made the game as attractive or fun, and that the NBA being on NBC again could be a very good thing. So if they're deciding these TV contracts coming up soon, who's going to be on, where the NBA is going to be shown, I'd like NBC to win, because I felt like they treated the game with such a grandiose thing to it, and with David Stern, that we want to recapture that. And if NBA on NBC happens again, there will be a lot of nostalgia because of that, with the theme song and different things. Fans will love this. And I'm saying, fuck ABC, Disney, ESPN conglomerate. Fuck that shit. They've had their time with the NBA. We need to give NBC the rightful sport once again, because they did the NBA right. I hate NBC all kinds of different ways, but I do realize they're better for the NBA than ABC is. So I'm rooting for you, NBC Peacock. Get the basketball back on your channel like it was decades ago, and we miss it there again. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The chainsaws. That's why I was thinking. It's like still, because that's like a chainsaw company. That is exactly what I was thinking. You used to be a bushworker. Okay, so that isn't your last name. It was what I thought, that you are somebody who you wielded a chainsaw in your job. Because I was like, that's the chainsaw company still. Because I don't see that word very often except for on chainsaws. So that's what I wanted to ask you when I saw your name. It's like, is that your name or what? I was like, oh, this is interesting. That's very cool. You love your raps, and we're so optimistic going forward. You're on the right channel. Seriously. There's so many different content makers right now with the Raptors that are kind of weird right now. I don't understand them. But this is the optimistic place, and I'm glad you're here, Stillman65. All right, guys, let's just do a quick wrap up before 3 hours, and I'll get out of here. And we'll be back tomorrow for a think tank. We're going to talk about the season, how we feel is going to go. Are you optimistic like Stillman65, or are you still kind of like a little dubious like Will Lou? One of them gets paid to cover the Raptors, and one of them is just a fan, and they're more correct. So, Will Lou, get your head out of your ass and start believing again. Blackhawk saying it's nice that Chris is accepting of Nick Nurse dogging him out in interviews, but I don't want to know about it. They need to keep it in-house. None of us are perfect. It's not Nick Nurse. He's talking about Fred. He's okay with Fred dogging him out. It's like, it's kind of like on the court. It's like if Chris messes up on the court, Fred can cuss him out, and he has no problem with it. He doesn't get hurt by that. It's not Nick. It's Fred. Fred is the guy he doesn't mind getting cussed out by. But yeah, I agree with this. I don't like them getting the in-house stuff on blast. You know, when Scotty and Thad had that skirmish at halftime, it caused a little waves. That's something that should be behind closed doors and dealt with within the team internally, for sure. You know, because we don't want Lakers kind of bullshit going on. Tom Duke say, right on, Steel, let's go. Let's freaking go. W Stream. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Tom. And thank you, Blackhawk and Steelman and everybody else. Monique, Sue, everybody's been here. Callie, David, everybody. Click, G, everybody, always. Yeah. I don't like our business on blast in any kind of way. And that's why I'm saying, fuck you, David Thorpe. All right. So real quick, Raptors did really good last night. Jakob-stat, amazing game. One of the greatest games as a Raptor ever. 30 points for Jakob-stat. Siakam, my second star, and Precious Achiuwa, my third. But I really give an honorable mention to Fred VanVleet for being the 15 assists. And Scotty Barnes was real solid too. So really good starting effort by all of our starters. And then all five of the guys who came off the bench contributed in winning ways that added up to us getting a 10-point victory over the Magic last night. This is great. We're 28-31, guys. We're only 3 games below 500, and we can get over 500 once again very soon. And I expect that. I really, really do. ESPN Power Rankings, you got us ranked at 21 right now. You're going to have to adjust that in the weeks to come. You're going to see us reemerge into the teens and go even higher very, very soon. So you get ready to change your power rankings, Tim Bontemps. And if you think we didn't do anything at the trade deadline, you're crazy. You need to open your eyes. We got Jakob-stat now, and it's very dangerous, the Raptors at this stage. W Stream, Lex, let's go Raptors. Always keep at it despite these negative reporters, et cetera, et cetera. You go, Monique, and you talk to them. You see them. Tell them to be nicer and be kinder, because we treat the Raptors like family. When you talk shit about our family, we get pissed off, Will Lou. So stop being snarky and stop putting us down and putting insults on the Raptors, because they are our family. And when you talk shit about them, you're talking shit about my family. And that makes me mad. And that's what I'm saying. You reporters and journalists need to understand we have a personal connection to these guys. We love the team. We love their personalities. We love these young men that wear the Raptor red and play their asses off to try and get wins for our franchise. And when you guys are fucking so snarky and cute with your little comments on Twitter and your pieces and the way you cover them, realize you're turning off the real ones, the people like us that actually do really want this team to win. So maybe your little jokes are funny, but do you want to have more followers? Do you want to be more successful? Maybe you need to listen to us. All right, y'all, have a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you know more Raptor fans that are out there that are having to just deal with the negativity and they don't know somewhere positive to come, let them know about this channel, because this has been an oasis in the middle of a lot of toxic ass, stupid ass shit in the last month. And I'm proud to be a part of that because I want to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. That's the one thing that I always was trying to be, is part of the solution for the Raptors to get good things going for them. I appreciate and love every single one of y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Let's go Raptors. It's the All-Star break, and we're going to see Mr. Young Barnes, Mr. Young Scotty Barnes is going to be going to that Rising Stars, and we want you to go there and show these motherfuckers that you shouldn't have been picked 12th for the Rising Stars game. You go, Scotty Barnes, and let's go Raptors. Have a great Wednesday, guys. See you guys tomorrow.